Jealousy's a motherfucker. You weak, jealous motherfuckers. If you're a jealous motherfucker, you just a weak motherfucker. See, when you're on top, motherfuckers just want to bring you down. Motherfuckers don't even know.
My dreams niggas want to whiskey, want to set off. Should have pushed them dead off, wipe the sweat off. Cause in this world I'm dead off, squeeze that off, then sped off. Ain't no shook hands in Brooklyn. Army fatigue, bring fatigue to enemies. Look, man, they wanna see me locked up, shot up. All clocked up over the casket, screaming bastard, crying. Know my friends is lying. Y'all know who killed them with the Lucas on the Lucas on the desert. Dying ain't the shit, but it's pleasant. Kinda quiet. Watch my niggas bring the rock. Giving cats the opposite of dying. The game 30 pounds when you die, no lie. Lazy eye. I was high when they hit. Took a few cats with me. Shit, I need the company. Apologies in order to Tiara, my daughter. If it was up to me, you would be with me. Sorta like Jack Dearest. My mission needs the clearest. Silence so you can't hear it. Competition still feel it. Shit, don't ask me. I went from ashy to nasty to classy. Still, that's not all. Let's go back to cash. Fingers in the ass again. $50 half again. Daydreaming, fuck around and wet like semen. The whole team. Be more gone to free. Creep. Move to new places, new faces, fuck new faces. When I'm ready, I make it take dangerous. We good fellas. Niggas can't bang with us. Try to do me. My crew be unruly. The old school cats, they call cats tourists. Call blacks movies. Niggas cool to smoke movies. And fuck without rubbers. Specialize in killing wise grandmothers. Who can trust this shit? When friends start busting, friends start up. Kill it gently. God made me to push a Bentley. Me and Sean Cole taking bras home. On the phone with the chick. Switch down chick. About to make my own photo fix my life shit. We used to hold the gold, now we floss the diamonds. Niggas want my team to stop shining. Pray my fame started grinding. Whining like Dilly. We've been around the world twice. But I hope that it's no ice, no life. Sacrifice your heart. Lexus with the automatic start. 50 shots, tear the club apart. Eat the shrimp out the car. Some bitches from Brussels, eating clams and mussels. Out of the pussy, pretty face, no waist. I just want the push, so I can knock it. Give them a back to the bush, cause I work them hoes, man, dead hoes. I show you how to play them hoes. Make you just visualize it. Before I go to sleep, I check the beds in the closet, so I can sleep safe. Not too many people fell in the briefcase. Then the reds help me sleep safe. But wait.
Hey, what's going on? Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. I see my man D-Rock. Salute, man. Raining Wool, man. Salute. My man Little Rock. Always hold me down. Max 7114, Reed, William Ivory. Who else? My ice is colder. Let me see who else we got up in here. Let me see. Captain James. What's going on, great? Okay, cool. So, hey man, I'm gonna have Game Changer drop his link to his channel. Game Changer actually dropped a video today, his first video, man. So, you know, I really want guys to go out and support, man. So Game Changer, when he get a chance, he'll drop the link to his channel. Good video. I checked it out, man. Good content. You know, Game Changer is very analytical. Like y'all know me, man. I'm a little bit more in your face, but Game Changer really break things down and really dissect things the way they supposed to be, man. So I think he got a fresh new perspective. What's going on, Bullet Tooth Tone? What's going on, bro? And so today, man, we're gonna talk about this 80-20 rule, right? Now everybody know what the 80-20 rule is, man. You know, it's basically to sum it up, it's they say females only find 20% of guys attractive. And the way that it's broken down is, well, I'm gonna give you the Alan Roger Curry definition. So only 20% of guys, supposedly only 20% of guys are going to be able to mate with women off pure lust, pure primal lust, almost that animal instinct. You know, only 20% of guys are going to be able to mate with the women, or these women are going to want to mate with them. And the other 80%, according to Alan Roger Curry, they would have to either spend money, uh, you know, promise females long-term relationships, you know, trick off on them, et cetera, take them out on dates, you know, try to get the buns. So, you know, basically that's what we're going to talk about today, man. You know, we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. Do you guys agree with the 80-20 rule? Is it actually a real thing? You know, the social implications, pardon me, of the 80-20 rule. You know, so we're going to talk about all that, man. What's going on, Sir Tricks? Appreciate it, bro. So yeah, man. Now I have an interesting perspective on the 80-20 rule. I think that you know, I personally think the 80-20 rule can really change depending on where you at in life, man. Because I've seen guys do straight up transformations, man. I've seen guys drop 120 pounds, you know, and that was one of their biggest flaws that they had, that they was overweight. And I've seen guys transform. And next thing you know, they was able to do certain things on the dating market, and a sexual marketplace really rose. What's going on, Dion? So, you know, I don't put too much stock into the 80-20 rule. Like I know it's a thing, you know, I know it is some truth in it, but I don't think it's the end all be all, man. You know, I think a lot of people put way too much stock in it just in general, man. You know, so you think about 20% of the guys, that's you know, it's more than 20% of guys out here mating, man. So I don't really know, you know, about this, but I want to get Game Changer, man. Go ahead, spark this off, man, and we can really start the conversation, bro.
Yeah, thanks, C Boogie. So the 80-20 rule is like one of the few things that me and C Boogie kind of disagree on, because, you know, he feels that it's a good thing for society and it's natural and, you know, survival of the fittest, basically. I mean, would you
Well, I
say
didn't
that?
say it was a good thing for society, but I said it's,
Okay.
you know, it's a natural thing.
Okay. So I actually agree with you that it's a natural thing, because, you know, it's a natural thing, but it's not a good thing for society, in my opinion. And it's not just the 80% of men who it's not a good thing for. It's actually a really bad thing for women in general, you know, for 80% of women. I mean, you know, 20% of men cannot get with, you know, 80% of women. So, you know, 60% of those women are going to be very upset, you know, in addition to the 80% of men. I mean, I think that the reason why it's a natural thing is because men in older times, you know, throughout male evolution and stuff, men kind of died off at a high rate. So it was really only 20% of men that survived, you know, all the wars and, you know, just, you know, saber-toothed tigers and shit. So, you know, that's kind of just what women have become used to, and that's what men have become used to. You know, the living 20% that was able to put their seed across, you know, they were used to having their pick. But now we live in a society where more or less everybody lives. It's not really going to go as we want it to go. So it may be a good rule for the individual, especially the 20% of men, but it's not really a good thing for society. Also, Alan Roger Curry seemed to have like a slightly different definition than what I thought it was. I thought that it was like 80% of men are just found like, or excuse me, only 20% of men are just considered like above average on a physical scale from females. That's how I understood. But from what you were saying, it's like 80% or 20% of men really just got that. They just got the pick. You know, they don't have to make any effort towards sex.
Yeah, that's the way Alan Roger Curry explained it. So, you know, but see, here's where, you know, I feel that this 80-20 rule gets a little bit kind of confusing, man, and people really get their panties in a bunch because so if 20% of men are only going to date, well, if 20% of men are deemed, you know, I guess high sexual marketplace value to the women, but at the same time, the other 80% of men still are going to mate. You know, by Alan Roger Curry's definition, it's these guys are going to have to either, you know, spend money, you know, promise these females long-term companionship, et cetera, et cetera. They just can't go up to these females and say, hey, I'm top 20%, let me fuck. You know, only 20% of guys can do that. Now, that to me is kind of is what it is. I think there is a hierarchy out here in the sexual marketplace. I don't doubt that part of it. And the same thing
Definitely.
is so I'm not all the way against it in terms of knowing where you at on the hierarchy, but at the same time, there is some very bad social implications that can come from the 80-20 rule as currently being played out. So now, even if you look at certain reality TV shows, man, these females are lined up to be side pieces. A lot of children are being born out of wedlock because of this 80-20 rule and shit like that, man. So yeah, it can bring certain depth to a society, man. But I'm not too sold on the 80-20 rule as being a definite though. I'm just not, because it's a lot more variables that go into that top 20% of men. I believe so myself. And what is the natural criteria for that 20% of men? Is it looks alone? Is it charisma? Is it swag? Is it money? Is it, profession? What goes in to that top 20% of men? And I believe that will be debatable. But I want to get your point.
Well, it varies from woman to woman. It's all depending on her value system. So she may give kind of like some teachers or whatnot. They'll say the final is worth 40%, and some of them will say the final is worth 30%, and homework is worth this amount. Same thing with homework is worth 10%. Same thing with women. They may say charisma is worth 30%. And looks is worth 20%, or vice versa. They just have a list of criteria and how it's weighed before they determine. But if you have like a situation where the same 20% or the same very small group of guys is getting the same chicks, then that means that they all have pretty much the same mating criteria. And that's what we're kind of going towards in the society, you know, like all women pretty much look for the exact same, or they value the exact same features of a man um, the same. So they're all going to, you know, find the same guy equally attractive, and or they're going to find the same guy at the top of the scale. And it's really nothing wrong with that, because men are worse offenders of that. You know, we all pretty much have like a standard definition of beauty, and it's all pretty much the same. Like, you know, there are a few people that would say, you know, 1994 Halle Berry is not attractive. So, you know, we don't really fluctuate because our primary focus is looks. So that's kind of where women are with that. Or where the 80-20 rule goes. But I think the reason why you don't think it's a definite thing, because things aren't really like cut and dry. It's not like there's a cutoff point, like, you know, oh, you're 80% and that's it. You know, you can't be 79.9%. You know, like they just cut off 70. So, you know, it kind of at the 80 mark is probably where you see it at, and then it just kind of dwindles the quality and quantity of sexual attention from the 70s down. You know, so I don't think that 80 is just a cutoff, and everybody below the 80 mark is just incels.
Now,
So
let me ask you this, you know,
go ahead.
so I would think the 80-20 rule would maybe apply to women between ages of 16 to, you know, maybe 30.
Mm-hmm.
I might even stretch it out to maybe 32. But after a certain age, these bitches usually wake up. But,
Yeah.
you know, in that sexual prime, I would think the 80-20 rule is a pretty you know, pretty solid to work off of. Yo, man, but at the same time, man, you got to add this variable in there as well, game changer. A lot of women, you know, depending on what they need in their life at that moment of time, you know, would make that criteria change as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, agree. But if they're looking to you to fulfill their needs and not their wants, then you're really just in that 80% regardless. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like you have to, like you say, you have to spend money, you have to promise security, you have to do things like that. So, you know, the 20% is for the want factor, at least according to Alan Roger Curry's definition. Like, you know, they want that 20%, but but they're willing to open themselves up to the larger population because of necessity. You know, an example of this. So there was a movie with Chris Rock. I Think I Love My Wife. You seen that?
Yeah.
All right. So, you know, the spoiler alert for everybody listening. So the beautiful Kerry Washington, you know, she was, you know, just the center of attention and everything, you know, and she was kind of like stringing Chris Rock along, you know, trying to get him to cheat on his wife and shit like that. And you know, she was just kind of like used to having him in the friend zone and shit. Just she was enjoying the male attention and everything that comes along with being a young, attractive woman. And then when she turned 32, you know, she said, "Look, I'm the old bitch in the club now. I'm tired of living in shoebox apartments." And then she got a chubby guy, but you know, he was big in the real estate game. So what you were saying about coming to a certain point in their life where they change, you know, that's true. However, they're still going to they're just accepting the 80%. They're not really they still will never have that primal that primal attraction that they have to that person. It's just a necessity.
Now, let me ask you this, game changer. Do you think, especially in Black America, the way that Black men are promoted through the media and things of that nature, I mean, even the Black man's role since slavery, man, we got this stigma about us that we bucks, you know, the sexual, the strong sexual buck. So do you think in Black America, the 80-20 rule is different than other races, or you think it's the same?
I think it's a lot different in Black America. I think that because Black men are more attractive, and you know, not to take a shot at, you know, any other race of men out there, but features that females find attractive are found in higher quantities in Black men. I guess an example would be, women traveling to Africa to do their whole, freak shit, but they're not really doing that in India. So because of that, the bar is set higher for Black men to, be considered attractive. And
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I would agree. I would agree because of the reputation of Black men. Black men are seemed more sexy on the open marketplace, man. Like that's why they came up with terms like tall, dark, and handsome. Strictly for Black men. And even my experiences being out here dating, fucking around with chicks or whatever. For my experiences, man, and I've had women of other races tell me this, that most women of other races are attracted to Black men now because of either certain social situations or family or not enough resources or whatever the case may be. They seem to be shy away, but off sex alone, I've been told this on many different occasions by women of other races, like, yeah, most races of women are sexually and physically attracted to Black men, and we got the reputation of having you know um big dicks, to be frank. So
Right.
I mean,
So,
I'm not gonna argue that.
no. So as we compete with other races of men, the 80-20 rule isn't, works to our favor. As we compete with each other, it works to our detriment. Because you're put in a different bracket. It's kind of like like, hey, I was killing it in JV, but this is varsity now, and I'm not doing as well. So it's kind of like that. As Black men compete with each other, we really don't do as well in the market. And also another reason why the 80% or the 80-20 rule really don't work to our favor is because Black women prioritize looks, over everything else at a higher number than any other group of women. In fact, from what I've seen in my travels, just thinking about it, Asian women really don't prioritize looks at all. And once again, this is not a shot at Asian men. This is just from what I noticed. They focus purely on functionality.
Yeah, but you got to think about this too. Like Asian men are typically not deemed, sexy. Maybe, you got your few, like one that come to mind is the guy from Fast and the Furious, or you got your Bruce Lees, your Jet Lees, But typically, even in the eyes of Asian women, um, on the open marketplace is what I'm saying, not in their countries in Asia, but if you put them on an open market, they're not deemed as sexy when you compare them to other races of guys.
Well,
but hold on, real.
They don't as they compete with each other, like as an Asian man competes with another Asian man, looks aren't really as much of a factor to Asian women.
Right.
So an Asian woman would get with a guy, who is maybe like a physical 4 over a physical 8 if he is a provider, if he's if he's a decent dude, But a Black woman, you can be an open piece of shit. If you look good, you look good. An example of that is Jeremy Meeks. And it really wasn't just Black women who was after him, but once he his physical appearance just kind of overrode everything, that he was a criminal. He had the, he wasn't a good provider, not really the best father figure, things like that. So, you remember that Iceberg Slim clip I played you and, about Henry, and he was begging and she left him for Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that in Black America. It's like, damn. And you don't really see that in high numbers in other groups. So, my point about that is the 80%, the 80-20 rule is felt, more so in Black America. And, that's because Black men are frankly a little bit more attractive than most races and a lot more attractive than others.
I mean, here's what I think as well, man. And then I'm gonna let Preem go once I'm done this statement. But here's what I think as well, man, when it comes to Black women. Now, black women have been spoiled with black men for centuries now. You know,
Right.
as far as on a sexual tip, I'm speaking sexually now. As far as our bodies, you know, as far as our, you know, penises, as far as our, you know, our sex drive, you know, black men have the highest testosterone. So sexually, black women have gotten spoiled, so they automatically expect more, 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 more. You know what I'm saying? And compared to other races of women, you know, a lot of other races of women pay for black dick. You know, or they got to get. Hold on, it's coming. Hold on. Hold on. They gotta get real teethy for black dick. So, you know, it's just one of those things, man. You know, I believe, to be honest, black women have gotten spoiled, bro, because they have had sexual access to black men, especially here in North America since slavery, man. They've been you know, in slavery, man, you know, it was a big thing to breed and everything, and you know, they've been doing their thing with black men, and they don't really know what it is to not be sexually satisfied in most cases. Now, I'm not saying that every black man is putting it down, but what I'm saying is, in Black America, the average black female, she can get good dick if she's really looking for it. It's not hard to find, you know. But a lot of other races of women, they gotta come to us, get teethy, sometimes spend money, cheat on their husbands, or you know, a lot of cuckolds, you know, they in the same room while somebody is fucking their wife, but you know, a lot of them want their wife to get this black dick, man. But we'll talk about that a little later. Preem, what's up? What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Can you hear me? I got a new mic. What's going on?
Oh, okay, yeah, man. Cut your mic up just a little bit for me.
Oh shit. Yeah, it's acting up. Let me try that. See if that worked any. And I think that's about all I got. It's
All
still
right,
not
man.
working.
I can hear you pretty good, bro.
You sure?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you
Okay.
good.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I was just catching up, man. Just falling back, catching up on the 80-20 thing. I mean, it's cool to me. But one thing you guys said earlier, that I just wanted to get some clarity on. You made a statement. You said, you know, the 80-20 thing is probably true, but it's probably just like a phase thing that, you know, bras go through, you know, probably 18 to 32, you know, they'll go that 20%, but then they kind of wise up and you know, they figure out what's in their best interest, and that's when they go for 80%. And Game Changer said that, you know, that's pretty much they're settling, but they still do, you know, for the most part, want that 20% of guys. So my question on that was, you know, I mean, I can't really deny, you know, any of the arguments, but I guess my statement would be, if that were the case, if, you know, especially if we're talking about women, knowing that women, for the most part, are emotionally driven and making decisions on emotion rather than logic, then the data would show, you know, we would have infidelity data, you know, would be like off the charts. I mean, we do have it, you know, primarily with men, and we do have it with women too. But I mean, it would just be like off the charts if that was the case, because when it came decision making time, those women who got with those 80% of men, which I believe is probably a phase thing that grew out of that 20%, just like men do. You know, as young men, teenagers, we all wanted a slut. I mean, we used to call them sluts back then. You know, you guys call them thoughts now. You know, but we all wanted one of those. You know, I mean, good girls rarely got a double take. We wanted the one, you know, that we knew was giving head to everybody, or the one that was fucking. You know, if you was young enough. You know what I'm saying? And you was trying to get your dick where you want. You know, you only dealt with the broads that was having sex. You know, so but you know, a man kind of grows out of that. So kind of like a man, he matures. He figures, I'm gonna do this wife and kids thing, and he may see the thought walking down the street. And you know, some guys, you know, banally, they may go ahead and act up on it. But most guys, for the most part, you know, they're gonna pass it up because they got too much to lose. And I think kind of to a female having too much to lose. So go back to my question for Game Changer is, how would you quantify that? Not to say, I'm not denying that maybe their juices may be flowing, but you know, they may just go home and just, you know, rub one off when their husband's downstairs watching football. You know what I'm saying? They may lock the door, go in the bathtub, you run the water on them, you know, and that'd be about it. But how would you quantify that? That they, you know, that they really do want those 20% of guys that much more, even after, and that it's not a growing pain, that they don't grow out of it.
Good question. It's hard to say if they actually grow out of it. You can't really chart something like that. But because it's so logic would assume that women having a fertility window cannot be okay. If a woman is aware that 80% of the female population cannot share 20% of men, you know, unless they're willing to do the whole polygamy thing 4-to-1, if she realizes that, she starts looking for other features in men as her fertility window kind of, you know, starts to close. If she's 32, she's like, okay, if I marry this guy, it'll be a while before we have kids, and hopefully by the time I'm 35, I could push one out that don't have Down syndrome. So, you know, there's that sense of urgency. There's that sense of urgency that comes with that, and I think that is a, you know, direct result of that sense of urgency, and also looks fade. So, you know, it's because the decision is made out of scarcity. It's kind of safe to conclude that, you know, if there were no scarcity, that particular decision wouldn't be made. And it's the same. It's kind of the same with men. It's really, you know, we never really get tired of sluts ever. However, we do get tired of putting in the effort that's necessary to get and maintain a consistent stream of sluts. You know, I mean,
let me add this real quick, Game Changer.
Go ahead.
And so here's my as far as like here's my input as far as men getting tired of sluts. I think we're gonna love sluts to the day that we die. Sluts are very important. Yeah. But I think one of the things that happens is if men do decide to settle down, you know, a lot of times men, we settle down for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we want to prove something to ourselves that we can stop chasing hoes, that we can, you know, run a household, you know, or, you know, we want a legacy, you know, for our children. We all would want a son that we can, you know, train up to be a warrior. So I think a lot of times, man, we put certain shit down, you know, to prove to ourselves that we can do it, because I love sluts. I mean, I love them to the point that, you know, I wouldn't marry a slut, but I love sluts, man. I love what they offer, you know. I just got to keep it a buck about that, man. But, you know,
exactly.
I know I can't live like that forever. You know, there will come a time where I would probably, you know, stop fucking a certain caliber of female. But, you know, I love sluts, man. You know, that's just where I'm at.
Right.
Really quick, testing. Is this any better, or is this the same or worse? T-Boogie, it's Mike.
No, you good, bro. I can hear you, man. My volume was down on my computer. Okay. So I think that was me, bro.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, what's going on, bro? What's going on, Carnell? You know, yeah, man, you got something to say?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Look, so I'm from Baltimore too. I'm from Emerson, right? And it was funny when you was mentioning the 80-20. Like, you know, I'm coming up, and I was like interested in, you know, like comic books and, you know, just I guess nerd, goofy shit, chess and shit. But I quickly learned, like, if you wasn't funny or some type of hyper aggressive, you ain't getting no pussy off the top. And I'm looking around, I'm like, shit, is this how I gotta act to get laid? So when a chick like is choosing that 80-20, I think your man said it earlier, it always bounces. And the 4 keys they always looking for is height, looks, if you funny, or charisma, whatever you want to use. And I ain't gonna say money because this was high school. I mean, everybody's pretty much broke. But it always bounces the older you get. And, you know, once you start to learn that game as a man, just become, crafty in all those things. The things that you can help. I mean, of course, you can't grow taller, but still, if you can get more money, get more money. If you could be funny, be that. Just sharpen your skills when it comes to, trying to get chicks or doing anything, and they'll gravitate to you. So I think the 80-20 rule, it's there for a reason, because most dudes just not going to do it. It is what it
So
is.
you saying, so Carnell, so you saying that self-improvement can really up your status sexually in regards to the 80-20 rule?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I
Absolutely.
would agree with that as well. Now, like you say, bro, it's certain things you can't, help. Maybe height. You can't really change your bone structure. Like you can lose weight in your face and stuff like that. Like you can really clear your face up as far as your skin and everything. So it's certain things that you can do, but physically, once you're done with puberty, you kind of are who you are. But here's what I've been told. And Alan Roger Carey and Ron Wills, they both say the same thing. Women are mostly concerned with from the neck down. Like you understand? Um, you know, and of my experiences of me working out for maybe 12 years straight, I would confirm that as well. I would confirm that as well. I've always had the same face, but there were times where when I was in the peak of my physical conditioning, uh, I was getting pussy thrown at me left and right. You understand? And it's a lot of truth about that. From the neck down, women do pay attention. So a lot of women pay attention to to your stomach. You don't necessarily have to have a six pack, but long as your stomach isn't, you ain't got the Homer Simpson going on, so I definitely noticed that throughout my travels with the body piece. So yeah.
So
Uh Go ahead.
Hey, let me ask you, C Boogie. When you say it was getting thrown at you, what was the primary race of women that was throwing it?
Uh Mostly black women and teethy white women.
Steve, yo, that shit is funny.
They get real teethy for a
Check
nigga. So,
out real quick, not to cut my man off, but like when I started improving, like most of the, I guess the black chicks, they ain't, either you was all the way hood or you ain't getting nothing right. And I'm like half and half. But I'm like, all right. So around like 18, I got a call, had a good job and stuff. And I'm like, look, all right, you bitches ain't fucking with me in my hood. I'm just gonna bounce out to, Arundel Mills or Columbia and shit like that. So now I'm bringing back mixed girls and black girls and some white bitches. I ain't gonna lie, and they seeing them and they like, how the fuck is this nigga getting this chick right here? Shit, what is it about them? You know what I'm saying? The chicks and the dudes was asking the same fucking question, and I'm like, when you're dealing with them chicks, they just you never know what they want. They all over the fucking place. Trying to figure them out is just you're wasting your time. Just
so
do
so
you.
basically you went to where you was wanted and where you were celebrating.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, I think that's the case for most men. But
Well, it's a different grading scale. I mean, and that's why I was asking because black women put looks before everything else. Here, for one, he's not competing with other black men, which would put him at a disadvantage. But for two, he's competing for women who are looking at who are weighing other factors than looks more heavily. So he has the advantage there. And I have to say, from a societal standpoint, the way we value men, like, yeah, looks is important, and is because, like you were saying, it forces men to improve in order to get into that top 80%, and it's nothing wrong with that. However, in the black community, all we doing is just getting swole. like Asian boys are becoming doctors, CEOs and shit like that. They go into Harvard and shit like that to be in the top 20%. We just getting buff and shit.
And
We just lining our fades and shit.
Yo, but let me ask you this, Game Changer. Sorry to
Go
cut
ahead.
you off.
Yeah.
But like, let me ask you this now. If it wasn't for the so you brought up Asian women. Now, if it wasn't for their culture, how they were brought up and family, do you think the same thing would apply?
I don't know, but because they have been that way for so long, So basically, Confucius, who's like about I think like 2500 BC. I could be mistaken, could just be 500 BC, but from a long time ago, he introduced the concept of, a patriarchal male-headed family, since, the foundation of China. So, that's been around for quite some time. So it could be a natural thing and it could just be, a cultural phenomenon, but they've been doing it since the beginning, and that's probably why the dicks aren't as big because they haven't really been looking to, looking for that feature.
What?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you have a group of people who've been constantly only mating with big dick dudes, then eventually, your whole race is just going to be filled with big dick dudes.
Yo, okay, okay. Let me. Oh, whoa. Okay, I gotta. let's y'all give me 1 second, man. Let's get the likes up in the chat room, please.
I just want to say something really quick on his point about when he was talking about the brother that was going overseas and saying that the woman judged by a different value system. That may be true. However, depending on what Spanish countries that you go to, you are absolutely competing against other black men.
I was talking about Asia. I was talking about Asia.
Prior to that, when Cardinal was talking about like Latin America or South America, in those countries, when you go there, no, remember he was saying he would come back with some black or some like Latinos.
Oh no, this was probably like 20 minutes outside of my city, so it wasn't even the other countries.
Okay. But my bad. I thought I heard Game Changer make the comment as far as when you go to other countries. But it was about Asia. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a theory on what he just said, but go ahead. I'll go ahead to you, Boogie.
No. I just want to say I'm not shooting at Asian dudes. I'm just saying that if height, let's keep the dicks out of it. But if height,
let's do that.
But if height isn't as important to women, and intellectual or economic success is, then eventually they're the ones who are going to produce more, and you're just going to have a group of shorter, highly intelligent men. So I think that's probably a better way to say it.
Okay, but basically what I'm saying is because of their culture, the Asian culture, it doesn't mean that they are not attracted to the top 20% of guys, but because culturally they have been, socialized to think a certain kind of way and build their families a certain kind of way, it doesn't mean that they are not lusting for the top 20% of guys. That doesn't mean anything, but they got certain social norms that they gotta, abide by. And that keeps their country stable. But man, let's keep the dicks out of it, man. That kind of really
my bad.
Let's man.
But no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. Then we're gonna pass it to Nagon.
Well, what I was gonna say to what he said, and I'm definitely gonna keep the dicks out of it. I mean, if you know how they used to do it, right? They would take the biggest man, the biggest woman, and then they made them. So obviously you're gonna have a big ass child when you come out, all body parts included, right? So you do this over time. Of course, you develop a race of people that's bigger, stronger, faster, etc. Right now, when it comes to our chicks, they haven't been socialized to respect or care about intelligence. All they really give a fuck about is, can he sling dick? Especially if you got a higher power step in and say, hey, look, we're gonna give you assistance and resources, whereas though you don't really need your man. So the only incentive they really have is just, get some dick and keep it moving. And if they
Well,
feel like, go ahead.
no. Finish your statement, bro. I'm sorry.
If they feel like that's all we good for, that's how they gonna move.
That's okay. Like, let me put a little bit of cut on what you just said because now black women, as far as them being able to do whatever the fuck they wanted to do, black men have never had the authority over black women, going back to slavery days. So, it's that's not to say that other races of women wouldn't have did the same thing, but their men had, control over them. So you see the way these white females act now. These white females are hella out of pocket.
Wow.
They wrote the book on being out of pocket. If you look at these Asian women and the way these Asian broads are acting now, they wilding the fuck out. So, given the opportunity, and given the uh chance that the shame is taken out of some of these other communities, as far as Asian, Arab, African cultures, man, if they was to suck out the shame out of their communities, who's to say that those females wouldn't do the same thing? But in Black America, as Black men, we never had a chance to really lay down the law and the rules and the SOP for these broads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you. I personally look at it like black women are the first group of chicks that are able to run rampant, unchecked,
Agreed.
just do whatever the fuck they want to. Whereas though other women, Arab women can't play that shit in front of their man. Nah, they get their eyes knocked out. So and a lot of group of other women can't do that shit. But our chicks, they be running fucking wild, and that shows you the true nature. If you leave them at their devices, they will fucking destroy themselves, and you're watching it in real time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, and you know what, bro? I would agree with that, and I do agree with that actually. But um, see, as far as fuckery, in my experience, it just displays itself differently. So the white holes, they still get teethy, but that fuckery, it just comes in a different package. Or Asian women, I dealt with a few Asian chicks, their fuckery, it comes in a tinier package, but it's a different package, so the Black female, yeah, she is highly out of line, on a straight disrespectful level, a contemptuous level, a just downright ignorant ass level. Yeah, they shit is crazy, man. But you know, uh, if these white hoes were so much in pocket, man, we wouldn't see all these white MGTOW groups, man. We wouldn't see these white guys, starting to cry and complain over the internet. So I don't want see like that's just what I don't want to do. And in 2019, I'm calling that shit out a lot as well. I'm calling these white bitches out too, because these white hoes are starting to get on my nerves, bro. I'm gonna be honest. And I love a teethy white bitch, but at the same time, I'm starting to really get irritated by these white hoes, man, because they think this black man can't resist their snatch. And I
right.
gotta put an end to that. But yeah, Nagon, what's up, dog?
Hey, what's up, fam? How you doing, brother? How y'all doing out there? Game
Pretty good.
Uh,
time. Oh, yeah. How y'all
good,
doing?
bruh.
Hey, man. I'm just checking out the combo a little bit. I saw you guys were talking about the 80-20 rule, and I guess with different societies and cultures, um, the 80-20 rule, really runs hard here in the United States. White women and black women and Asian and Latinas and so forth engage in it. But when you talk about going maybe overseas and other places, Asian cultures and Arabic cultures and so forth, um, that doesn't exist as much. It really comes down to what that individual, the prospective husband, what he may be able to provide, what his level of education is, his family background, which plays a huge role, what kind of family they come from. Those things play very big roles in that whole mating choice game. So somebody standing 6'5" with 6-pack abs and so forth, which is great, which all we want. That doesn't play as big as a role as do you come from a good family? Does your family have a certain level of let's say resource and so forth, and they take all that into consideration um, on an a priori type of basis. When you look at what goes on here in the United States, which is a free for all of fucking, a goat fuck, a giant goat fuck in a lot of ways. Um, you know, the shit's run amok. So the 80-20 rule is definitely in play. Who is the handsomest guy, the one who's got the most swag and all that, and that plays huge. That plays huge. White women playing it, and all others playing it. Even Asian women who come over here now. I was interested to listen to another individual of Chinese descent just the other day who was talking about what was going on in China, where the Chinese women now were kind of spoiled, and they were making songs about, the guy's got to have a certain physique, and he's got to, have a certain amount of money, and he's got to have these things in which these girls are going to want to go after. Looks like even in China with the money and maybe some of a little bit of the breakdown of the very strict cultural norms that they've had there. We see the 80-20 rule being played a little bit more over there as well. So wherever you have more feminism, more of a breakdown in the classical cultural norms, you see more of that 80-20 rule coming into play. So as things become a bit more chaotic, less evolved, if you will, you're going to see a lot more of that shit.
And yeah,
So,
no, going really quick, man. How is the mating scene down there in Brazil?
Brazil, I would say the mating scene definitely, the 80-20 rule certainly plays in there. But with Brazilian women, more so than anything else, they are looking for men who tend to have more resources. You see a lot of older guys, especially when you go out into the countryside. I'm not talking about just because I've traveled deeply in Brazil, and when you go into some of the towns and villages and so forth, and you start seeing these young women, they're marrying guys in their 40s and 50s, and these girls are 19 and 20 and 22 and 23. Why are they doing that? They're marrying these men at these ages or linking up with them because these older guys are more established. They have more resources. And they're mothers. Now, remember, the mother's the biggest pimp out here. Don't ever forget that. Mother's the biggest pimp. So mom is setting a lot of that up to hook them up with a lot of these older guys because they want their daughters to be with men who have a little bit more resources. And that's how that game is played when you really start to look at that. So it's not so much about, does this guy have is this the biggest, strongest, sexiest guy? These women may want to have sex with these people, but as far as them linking up, marrying, and making unions, it tends to come more down the resource line of the game, more established, and that's kind of what you're looking at. So it's very common to see a lot of older men, older guys.
That's the nature, though, right?
Yeah, that is, but you tend to see that. You tend to see that there. I saw that in a lot of other places. I kind of saw that in Russia as well. I saw that in other spots. Not that Russians are so deeply into that, but we do see that as well. The resources, especially now with the economic game the way it is there, as opposed to where it was before in kind of the communist era. So we see a lot of that in a lot of different places around the world. The 80-20 rule plays heavily here in the United States and especially in the black community where it's a giant bubble
That's
fuck.
cool.
It's a fucking goat fuck up in that bitch. You start to see just all manners of the most bizarre and fucked up shit that you could imagine. But we see a lot of that going on, and that's why you see that. But you do see that happening now also in the white culture. I've seen these white women jump up there and literally call out the 80-20 rule right there. Well, guys, I'm sorry. Some of you guys are not getting sex and all that. You guys just don't have the swag. Some of you guys just you don't know how to deal with women. And maybe you guys can't get it because that's part of the problem because you guys don't have. So they were running the 80-20 rule down a lot of these dudes, and the MGTOWs were climbing all over them on this shit. So, I'd say the black woman and the white woman, especially here in the United States, are out of fucking pocket in some massive ways. They two kind of mirror each other. In fact, I say the white woman is the new black woman in a lot of respects. But anyhow, just moving away from that, other societies that are, that have very strong cultural kind of norms there, they really tend to kind of get that 80-20 rule out of there because mom and all them and families are trying to establish their daughters with what they consider good men, who may not be the most handsome or the most beautiful, but they may have good resources. They may be very well educated, very intelligent, who can take care of them a little bit more long term. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, Xanatos, man. Like you can jump in here anytime you want, man, and just do your thing, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Xanatos, what's up, baby?
Hey, what's good, Nico? What's good, Boogie? Rest of the panel. Even the guys in the chat room. I see AM1 in there. Yo, dude, we fucking lost last night in overtime. Fucking James Harden, man. What the hell? You guys don't get the joke. Anyway.
I'm not in front of my computer, so I can't see what the chat is.
No, you're good. No, I'm just shouting shout out to AM1. But
AM1, what's up, baby?
Yeah, but Game Changer, you said you had a quick question. I would like to speak, but go on ahead. Game Changer. Okay. Apparently he.
Wait, I was muted. My bad. No, I just had a real quick question. Do you think that there's a breakdown between in the U.S. Nagone? Do you think that there's a breakdown between mother and daughter, which is why you don't see the daughters influencing or the mothers influencing their daughters to make the proper choices?
That's an excellent question. Yeah, I definitely think that, especially in the black community, yes. But yeah, I definitely see that's happening a great deal more. Yeah, that certainly is. And now you got mama, because you got a lot of young mamas out here. They kind of competing with the daughters. It's, like I tell you, it's a goat fuck up in this bitch. It's ill. It's
ill. Oh, he's right about that.
All right. Apologies, Xanatos, but please go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good, Game Changer. Just wanted to drop in, basically drop my 2 cents in this, especially with this 80-20 rule stuff, which at this point, I have to say it's more like the 90-10 rule. Everyone has been saying this, but especially since the advent of social media, this has literally narrowed down the link of communication between the majority of women and the top tier guys to literally one link. You all you need to do is just, if you're an average to decent looking chick, all you need to do is just follow one dude you find to be attractive, whether it's an athlete, celebrity, whatever, on Instagram, Facebook, and especially if you have your picture at some point, all you need to do is just slide into the DMs and you're good to go. So especially with the way the internet is working these days, the 80-20-10 rule, I think it's narrowing down to it being worse than ever. So as far as I'm concerned, that's why I live by the philosophy of self-improvement, to basically join the elite, to be on your purpose, to do the tenets that Nagone said, which I'm sure he'll say later on in the podcast. But as far as that's concerned, yeah, we see it all around us. We see it as fact. It was 80-20 when we were all growing up, as far as I'm concerned, especially if we lived in either the hood or what I like to call the pseudo hood, where I'm from. And Boogie, you're familiar with where I'm from, which is not too far from Baltimore. But I mean, and even in a place like that, you had to basically either be a Neanderthal, a Negro Neanderthal, or at least act like a Negro Neanderthal. At least act like you're from the streets, act like you're part of a gang, act like you sold drugs, and you may fool some dumb scraggle-daggles who don't know any better, but some of them will catch up. And I actually had a lot of friends, well, a fair amount of friends who fit into that category. And yeah, they would get some girls in the short term, but when their hoe cards were called out. No disrespect, but that's when you had a lot of the drama, a lot of the backbiting, the pushing, not so much the false rape allegations, but you definitely had a lot of that shock that these daggles had, particularly when they found out that the guy that they were messing with were basically just faking the funk. So that's why a lot of this stuff is coming to a head now, where especially now in the so-called in the community, like you have to be a complete psychopath, or you might as well be an educated lame. I mean, we had dudes who otherwise, as we stated, in other communities, non-black communities, they would be seen as alpha. I mean, Charles Lindner, for instance, the guy who proposed to his wife after the Chicago Bears win. I mean, a guy like him today would be probably considered a lame, a cornball, especially if he didn't have that lucrative deal with the Bears. And that's how the case with a lot of these athletes. Even back in the past, what Scottie Pippen talked about this, Dennis Rodman talked about this, other individuals talked about this, and now we're sort of seeing the result of it with the fathers of like your Klay Thompsons, your Steph Currys, your Patrick Mahomes. Look what they got, and look how their offspring are doing. No further explanations needed. But as far as the other point I want to mention, a lot of you guys mentioned how the white female, the American white female, is falling off. And given where I am, I know you hate me saying this, Boogie, but trust me, they are definitely falling off. They're at best 20 years behind the American daggle, and they're narrowing the gap. It's the point now in which I'm seeing. What's up?
They're behind as far as fuckery?
Yeah, 20 years behind. Like, I'd say white women now are right around the year 2000. And I remember black women in the year 2000. They weren't anything to write home about. As a matter of fact, that's when I was 13 in the year 2000. I mean, obviously, that's when I really started to know chicks. And when I woke up out of my childhood slumber, I did not like what I saw. And that's what I'm seeing right now when it comes to these American white women, that they're sort of de facto in the year 2000 when it comes to black women in comparison. And at this point, what I'm seeing right now are white women, either with kids, single mothers, by the way, white women who are fat and act like there's no problem. I mean, especially with these dating websites, they'll take all sorts of professional headshots. And I mean, there are more headshots on the freaking dating sites when it comes to these fat white broads than on Call of Duty and Fortnite combined. Come on. You got all these other white women who, obviously, you got the feminists. I mean, it's not so much in the state that I live in, but especially on the coastal states, you got the feminist, careerist kind of women. And no, these feminists will not put out to you faster if you're black, as a matter of fact, except for some of the pseudo-Canadian cities like Minneapolis and Seattle. They probably hate your black ass even more since they're feminists, but that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. But yeah, it's not a pretty sight. And I have to call out the SYSBM dudes. They're my allies. They are. But we need to be careful when it comes to this pedalization of American white women. These women are not.
Speak about it, bro. Speak on it. Go ahead. Speak on
it. These girls aren't even Kelly from Saved by the Bell. I mean, come on.
No, you're right, bro. You know,
good shit.
I actually been saying that for a while, man. Like this American white bitch is totally out of line. At this point, she's uncontrollable. Her attitude is just as bad as the daggle in most cases, man. And I find myself having to check these white bitches because the white women fuckery, like I say, if you're not really paying attention, it really would slip by you, you know. Or if you just so enamored with white bitches, then you probably would give it a pass. But I can't do that. Bro. I gotta check this white broad because she think her shit don't stink either. And these white guys, and I would just say this real quick, and we go back to the 80-20. But these white guys where I live at, they don't give a fuck about these white women. I don't know what these black women be talking about. White men are just great providers and protectors. These white bitches down here are riding on bikes on the side of the freeway. They walking with all kind of kids and strollers, just like in the ghetto. They got these fucked up attitudes. We ain't gonna talk about the weight. So when it comes to this white hole, it's just a numbers game because it's a lot more white women than you are going to bump into a lot more good white women, teethy white women. But as far as how they are really degrading their value, man, this white bitch is completely out of line.
Well, would you say, all right, because white men are losing power? Now you see how our chicks act because we don't have any power for the most part. So they sensing their group of men losing power. So they like, well, fuck it. I can do what I want. I can start to act up like like the other chicks.
Third, fourth wave feminism, bro.
You said earlier, Steve Boogie, culture by culture, every woman has their own fuckery. I personally believe that all those women will act the same given carte blanche. They'll all act the same way. Run a fucking muck. But depending on the culture, some of them can check them, some of them can't. But what we're running into now is that I think times is going back to what it was, I guess, at the beginning, where you let these chicks run amok until they say to themselves, "Okay, we can't do this no more. We need to go back to a patriarchal society."
Well, I don't know that they're trying.
Well, it's history repeating itself. Like
they're trying to take the patriarchy down, bro. If you look at what's
exactly.
going on with third and fourth wave feminism right now amongst the white community, they're trying to chip away at this patriarchy.
I agree with you.
Going on right now.
I agree with you because they hate it so much. See, I mean, we know how chicks are. They don't understand, right? But once that's gone and they're able to run amok, see, dude's gonna be cool. We're gonna be like, all right, do your fuckery. I'm gonna do me, and we're gonna see who benefit at the end. And we all know we benefit at the end because they're gonna need us more than we would need them. So,
okay, but what's your end goal? Like, what's your point of what do you want to see at the end? Like, is this a means to an end? What's up?
I'll say this as far as my philosophy. As long as a chick following my program, I really don't give a fuck what she do, or I guess where she come from or her lifestyle. I'm in my own world. I'm on my own purpose, right? So if I lay down the program to the chick like, hey, I need you to cook, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. Don't be doing out here doing some silly shit. Follow this program, we good. But if you can't, I just don't fuck with you. I just keep it like that because I believe, based on my experience, I mean, I've been in some fuck shit. I've done some fuck shit. I've been on that dark side of the coin, and personally, it's I'd rather live there than live in a fantasy world thinking, my chick is going to be faithful to me. Like some dude can't run up to her, pay a couple grand or something like that and knock her off. Power tricking was when Mac City and them say shit. That shit is real, So I don't put too much stock in their loyalty or, things like that. I just, as long as you do what I need you to do for me, I'm straight.
All right, that I can dig it, man, and nothing wrong with that, man. You run your program how you run your program, and I think with like a lot of these women, man, they really need that dom game, But I'll pass the mic.
They need to be spanked, like you said one of your videos.
Definitely spank. Definitely spank.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think that the way we're doing this whole 80-20 thing is sustainable. I do think that there'll be some type of, epic crash or something as a result. I don't know what's going to happen after that, and it probably won't be this generation, but it's definitely not sustainable. We can't continue like this. It's a result of a prosperous society but it's also like a lot of prosperous societies fall because of things like that, low fertility, and just people losing their family structure and the cohesive. You can't have a group of people who are not behaving in the best interests of society, a large group of people who are not behaving in the best interests of society, and that society continue to function. So
yeah.
across the calamity, as
I would
those
agree with that.
I just said.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I
What
would
I'm pretty
certainly
much
agree with that.
saying is that
I
it's
kind of,
history kind of
hey Carter,
repeating.
hold on a second. I just want to say something very
Oh, go
quick.
ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. I agree with that because what Game Changer is basically saying is that this will lead to a societal fall, and we're actually seeing some of that. I think it was ARC who wrote a book called the Beta Male
Beta male
Revolution.
revolution.
Yeah, the beta male revolution. So we are actually kind of seeing some of this kind of right now, where guys are kind of revolting against some of this shit, saying I ain't, okay, the 80-20 rule. If you want to keep that in effect, I'm not coming up and playing cleanup man behind this alpha male supposedly who's coming here banging this hoe out. I'm supposed to agree with Game Changer on that point. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask you about, Nagone, because I was gonna bring that up a little later, but since you brought up the beta male revolution, you know, fucking ARC. So, AC Boogie man, man. But the beta male revolution is real. And I believe it's playing out right now. I believe it's playing out. Because I'll say this. This was maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was doing some research that I never used, but I was checking out some incel channels, YouTube channels, and I was binge watching these incel channels for hours, man. I think like a whole morning, and I left out of there a little worried. Um, the way these guys were taking the way these incels were really just picking life apart. They really wasn't down with self-improvement. Like I didn't hear that on the incel channels. I think Carnell, can you mute? I'm hearing some noise. So appreciate it, bro. So yeah, back to the incel channel. So I was checking out the incel channels, Nagone, and I was a little highly disturbed when I left out of there. I didn't see a bunch of rage or guys threatening people. Don't get me wrong, like I didn't hear that. But what I seen was it was a lot of guys to me that kind of gave up on life, kind of accepted that plot. Like, look, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm going to be. I didn't hear any self-improvement from these guys. Nothing to make their life better. And I think that's a recipe for disaster when you talk about incels, bro. Because I believe you can always upgrade yourself, man. Granted, you may not can do a lot about your height, like I say, your facial structure, certain things you probably, or if you like me and your hairline pushed back, can't do nothing about that. But there are certain things that you can do to improve your life, man. And I didn't see none of that on there. So I'm gonna let y'all guys really take up with these incels and this beta male revolution, man, and hear what y'all got to say about that. Because I believe it's playing out, man.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
it's definitely playing out. Yeah, go ahead, Game Changer. Go ahead.
like from what I understand about incels is that they're not really looking for sex itself. They're really looking for sexual validation. Like the sex that comes with being in the bottom 80% is what we described before. If you spend enough money, you take them out enough, you do this and do that, you'll get some, but it'll be.
Hold on, really quick, Game Changer. Like really quick, because I'm gonna add on to your point, but I don't want to forget now, because I know this is gonna be highly controversial. But the doctors for Elliot Rodger, because Elliot Rodger was getting seen by doctors. There was no doubt about that. But the doctors said that there was nothing that they can help Elliot Rodger with, meaning, and I'm translating this, but this is what I think. Elliot Rodger needs to get pussy from a bad bitch. And this is what was driving him crazy. And this is what, pretty much put him in that mind frame to have him commit the crime that he committed. Now,
Okay, hold on a second. See, Boogie, you killing that point. It's dead on the money. You see, in Brazil, one thing I liked about South America, Brazil, I'm going to say this very quickly. They have a culture, they have a thing called termas, the cultura de termas. And you have the termas. And what is that termas? That termas is where you can go, a place called like Centauras, 4x4, 65, a couple spots you can go to, get your willy wet. Now, if you are, and I'm telling you, you can walk in there and there are 10s, 11s walking around in that motherfucker, and you can have access to them if you just have a few bucks. And a couple of dollars will keep your willy wet. So you don't see serial killers like these guys running around and doing the kind of shit that these guys are doing here because they're not getting access to no fucking pussy. That guy needed to get fucking laid. Now in Brazil, okay, and these other places, even in Germany and so forth, where you got the FKK clubs and all that, you can walk into a spot and look at a fine bitch and get your willy wet. And at the end of the day, it'll get that out of you. Now you might want to have a long-term relationship and marry a woman or something else like that, which may add some different aspects to it. But that I can't get laid, I can't get no pussy, I'm sitting here whacking off all day long, and I'm mad because that gets relieved because you have an outlet for that. Societies that have an outlet for that don't have these kind of motherfuckers running around. Up in this sick, fucked up piece, up in this motherfucker, it's fucked up. These guys have some issues with that. You know what I mean? They do have some issues. Now, of course, you had Backpage and some of these other places, where you had to go and you had to worry about getting busted or getting arrested and all this kind of shit, and all the stigma that goes behind it. In other cultures, they deal with it a little bit more naturally. That this kind of exists. So I do think if Elliot Rodger was getting a little more ass, okay, and he was able to go into a place and get his nutsacks relieved, he might have been a little less dangerous. And I think that's the point that my man C Boogie is breaking down on, and I have to agree with that. Anyway, go ahead.
When Nagone, if that was the case, he wouldn't be considered an incel. By definition.
A lot of incels, they're saying they can't talk to women. I've listened to these incels. A lot of these say, I can't talk to women. I'm not getting any pussy. And they get very angry behind it. And that's what I mean. That's a big part of it.
If they got some, they wouldn't be incels. So,
No. Once again, I said a lot of these incels are talking about they're awkward. They can't. They don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to relate. They can't get no ass. They feel all left out. They have no outlets. And that's where these guys are. And they get around on one group, and then they start sitting around talking all, stinking thinking together, and they come out with some rather ill shit. So I think that's what we see. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, pardon me, game changer. Like, I'm gonna let you go next, but I gotta piggyback off what Nagone said. Now, in Black America, the black man is really used to taking a certain level of abuse or kind of things not going his way. A lot of us was born into this culture, so we can kind of deal with things a little bit better. Now, one of the things that we noticing is white guys for the longest time never had to compete. See, white guys was running syndicate on the mating market for so long because, they had the power and the resources at their disposal, so they can use that to leverage their power on the mating field. But now a lot of white guys, because this white bitch is so out of pocket, a lot of white guys, they pissed off because they got to compete with Hispanics, black guys. Well, white bitches been fucking Negroes, but they got to compete with black guys and then compete with each other. The white guy didn't have to compete, man. So he is facing a whole new front, a whole new battle with this thing. And I think this thing, this beta male revolution that we talk about is going to get a lot worse, especially for that group of men, because black men, let's face it, man, we had to face a certain level of adversity when it comes to black women since we were young. So we, we kind of conditioned for this shit, man, to a certain degree.
Right.
MJ, I'll go after you.
No, I mean, actually, you go ahead, Xantos.
Okay. So, yeah, but I was going to elaborate on the Gones point and on Boogie's point about these incel guys, particularly these white incel guys. And from my observation, going to the farthest reaches of Reddit and 4chan, a lot of these guys, quite frankly, are just entitled. These are entitled, sniveling brats. These are the lowest of the low. I mean, you think MGTOW guys are entitled. I think there's probably a bit more of a mental condition when it comes to MGTOW guys versus incel guys. And MGTOW guys may not know how to connect to women, and they may think scientifically about everything. If you do this and you do that, you'll get laid. Incel guys, I have a feeling a lot of them know what they're doing. They're very conscious about it because they feel entitled to the best of the best women just because I'm a man, particularly a white man, in the United States of America. So give me all the blondes that I can handle, and if I can't get what I want, then at best I'm going to be an incel bitching on the internet and telling women to go back to the kitchen, all this kind of stuff. Worst case scenario, you get Elliot Rodgers or someone like that. When it comes to these guys, a lot of these individuals, notice how they will always aim for what they think they're entitled to. They will never compromise, even if it's a reasonable accommodation. Particularly, say in Elliot Rodgers' case, he was obsessed with blondes, blonde, typical, or let's just say white chicks. A typical white chick, your Pamela Andersons, your Megan Fox or Meg Fox, whatever. Those kind of chicks. He wasn't willing, and note to self, not the self, but note to everyone listening. Elliot Rodger, he was biracial. He was Eurasian, by the way. So that may have some other factors to play into it, which that will be a completely deep rabbit hole. But as far as his preferences, someone like Elliot Rodger, someone who's rich, someone who comes from wealth, he could have easily gotten a decent to cute to bad-looking Chicana who was looking for a green card, or a self-hating Asian broad, or
a swirler,
or a bed wench. He could have easily gotten that. But no, he needed the Anglo-Saxon white standard of beauty, which, note to these guys, I will bet all of you this. A lot of these incel guys, in reality, I'm not going to call them racist, although in this case, Elliot Rodger, he definitely was a racist looking at the manifesto. But a lot of these guys, they are super entitled to their preference, and they will not bend nor negotiate.
Now, Xanatos, real quick, bro. Now, how you feel about guys having to face the fact that they have to negotiate at this point, because they haven't had to for so long because they had a fair share of, like you say, blonde bimbo white broads. Now they have to compete, and it's not just competing with white men; they're competing with essays and black men and Arab men and all kind of other guys. How you feel about that, man? Do you think guys should face the facts, or that this is the mating climate at this point, or like you say, should they go to another country? Should they, what you think, bro?
Well, for starters, I'll say welcome to the club. And I don't mean, I'm not just talking on behalf of us brothers here. I'm talking about the essays. I'm talking about the Arabs with their Arab money, the Dubai money, the Bollywood boys, the Asian dudes. Trust me, we've all been struggling to one degree or another when it comes to not just getting with white women, but even getting with our own women, because a lot of these white dudes have had access to our women, all of our women, non-black women, for centuries on end. And to an extent, they still do, especially when they leave the country, which is why I say there should be no such thing as a MGTOW or even an incel white guy. It shouldn't exist, for the simple fact that even as you're losing your power in America, which, let's be honest, a lot of your power was either given to white women, a lot of you gave it to white women, or you focused your power too much on cock-blocking non-whites, particularly black men, especially in the United States. And that's the reason why you guys lost your power. The elites came in, they decided to, F you in the ass, mainly because you guys were pleased because you were getting cookie crumbs instead of what us brothers were getting, which were breadcrumbs. So apparently you guys thought that was so much better than what we were getting, that you were doing the duty of the higher ups, playing this ethno-nationalist role for so long, and now your rights are being taken away as well. So, but as far as these guys who, and my feelings personally, you know what? Hey, look, I welcome competition. As someone who leans more libertarian, I welcome the free market, not just economic free market, but sexual free market. And in the sexual free market, it's the best man, regardless of race, who will win and rack up. Everybody else is to the side. I mean, they can go MGTOW and bitch and moan on 4chan and make all these memes talking about BBC. Look, dude, you guys can't handle competition because you guys have been spoiled for so freaking long. I mean, as an example, it is here in the United States where I've seen the most visceral reaction from a particular group of white guys when non-white men, especially black men, date their women and their reserve women. The reserve women for the white man, at least until recently, has been who? Asian women, or in some cases, Latina women, Indian women, Middle Eastern women, if they can unlock that. But now they're getting pissed off that black men and other men have access to these kind of women too. Versus in places like Europe, especially the more advanced parts of Europe, Canada, Australia, yeah, you got some crap talkers there, but you don't have as much of a visceral reaction towards black men or other men dating their women or other women as you do here in the States, where, let's be honest, the States have had the most coddled white men out of all the white men of the white race, dude. So this is no surprise to me, but my reaction to this is step up and compete.
And I second that, you know.
I have a question to the comment section. Natasha says, the baddest chocolate natural hair Nubians are with white men. Black men aren't checking for us, at least in LA. So
let me handle that, because I'm saving her to get her on a hangout.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saving that. She's supposed to come on the show. So we're gonna deal with that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, go ahead, Game Changer. I'm sorry, man.
Well, another thing, post are I think it was actually Cornell who mentioned negotiation. Like, you know, they don't want to negotiate. How would really, like, in modern society, a negotiation between men and women about the whole 80-20 rule and what they want and what you're going to provide in exchange, how would a negotiation like that go? Because really what's going on is, you know, we don't have a currency that they really value. Go ahead.
I was about to say, fam, if it was up to me, that negotiating word, I would do a fucking 40-yard field goal right between the motherfucker. Yo, man, I look, I'm not negotiating with women, right? Now, granted, in our case as black men in America, that, you know, you might have to give or take, you know, depending on your personality. But let's just say we're gonna have the conversation. Now, let's just say that we were all black men in another land where it was nothing but black men, and we ran the government up, down, the economy was ours. No, them bitches got to get in line, flat out, flat out. I ain't negotiating with no bitch. I ain't negotiating with the fuck that. We run it, we built it, they get in line. And this is a successful society to me. You know what I'm saying? So I know what you're saying, Game Changer, but I gotta be dogmatic about this, man. If it was up to me and the black men ran this thing top to bottom, is either our way or we kick y'all bitches out or we import some women that's gonna act right under our regime. I'm dead serious, man. But in the United States, what will a negotiation look like? Cuts. Let's start there. I would have to agree with cuts at this point. Cuts. Now, they may not happen the way people think they're going to happen. I don't necessarily see any significant cuts because for Black America, because you got to do it for white America, Hispanic America, and you got to convince these other races of men to kick their bitches out on the street. So that's a pretty hard thing to do. You can't just cut the black females' food stamps. That's not going to fly like that. But you know, I didn't mean to cut you off in the Game Changer, but man, I felt some kind of way about that, fam. Yo, If black men rat this bitch from top to bottom, these hoes will have to either have to get in line or we kick pardon me, kick their ass out and get some new ones.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, and there's historical precedents for, societies that just got tired and, just got like a whole new culture of women because of what they were dealing with. And then when you look at immigrants here, so basically if your country isn't providing you with what you need and what you reasonably deserve, then you move to another one. That's why so many people from other countries here. If you do everything you're supposed to do and your country doesn't provide you with a job, then you move to America to get that job. So if a person, is making a reasonable request from the mating pool and they're not seeing that it's met, then there's nothing wrong with moving to another country, in my opinion, to have your needs met.
Yeah. See, the bottom.
You're Borging.
Yeah, they're going. You Borging out pretty bad, bro.
Yeah, you're on that cricket, dude.
Yeah, you Borging out pretty bad.
Forget cricket. That's Boost. That's Boost. Boost Mobile.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just like anything. Like people come here, I got a friend from Cameroon. He got like his master's in chemistry and or it was chemistry or physics, I forget which one. But he couldn't really find a job where he lived, so he was fortunate enough to be able to move here. And so if you do everything you can, if you do go through the process of self-improvement that you was talking about, C Boogie, and you still don't really find what you are looking for, then take your improvements elsewhere. And I think that is something a lot of brothers are starting to do.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. You don't have to accept what's being shelled out over here. You don't have to accept it. You just don't have to accept it. I know a lot of guys think that they do, but you don't. There's no reason to have to say, well, I've got to accept the fuckery. You don't have to accept it if you don't want to. You can actually make moves. You do have options. And I think a lot of people think that they don't have options. And I think that's the real issue. And I think that's a part of why we speak the way we do, or I think maybe why you've had some of the SYSBM people and others say, that they can make other moves elsewhere, because there are other places you do have options. And I think that's the whole thing. Take a look at your options. You don't have to deal with the shit that's getting shelled out. The American gringa here, she bullshit. A lot of them are bullshit. Don't fuck with these gringas here. Go elsewhere. Go to South America, go other spots. You don't have to deal with her. And that's what she gets mad about. I don't give a fuck if she gets mad. Either get in line or get the fuck out of my way. I mean, that's the only option that they should actually have. You should exercise the options that you do have. And if there are other women that are coming here, you've got plenty of African women coming here and others who can potentially give you maybe a better deal. Maybe. So you have to examine those. You don't have to sit back and accept the slop and the shit that these females are shelling out to you. You don't have to accept it. And that's the key here. And I think Game Changer and I think Xanatos and C Boogie, I think that's what we're kind of saying, man. And my view is exercise and options. I started doing that 20 years ago. I don't have to deal with these women here if I don't want to. If I don't want to deal with them, I don't. They can hold nothing over me. Just and that's power too. Anyway, go
ahead. So C Boogie, you talk about self-improvement, and Xanatos was saying something interesting, in your home city or in your home area, at least, they're not really self-improve because, you're trying to improve yourself on the basis or the criteria that they're setting for you. So if they like muscle guys, then, self-improvement would be going to the gym. If they like academic guys, then, self-improvement would be going to the library or, thus and so. But self-improvement in the community that, Xanatos grew up in, that you and Xanatos grew up in, seems to be not really improvement. It seems to be, preparing yourself for prison. So
I would like to ask this. Are you saying that self-improvement would be involved, that you're improving yourself because of what some woman wants?
Yeah, that was the that's what C Boogie was saying earlier. Yeah. In order to not be an incel, you have to improve yourself.
Well, no.
I,
Let me clarify that real quick.
Okay.
No, I was saying when I was binge watching through the incel videos, I didn't hear the incels talking about any kind of self-improvement, to try to change their situation. They kind of just accepted their life and kind of, it seems to me a lot of those guys just kind of gave up, like, so they just didn't give a fuck about any kind of self-improvement, man, and a lot of these guys was overweight, they could have used a good haircut. So like it was the basic things. I'm like, I can't even call it self-improvement, man. Just being on top of your A game. So that's what I seen from a lot of those guys. Not all, but a few of those guys, man. They was like basic things that normal guys do, to keep themselves up. It seemed like they just was a little bit complacent on that, man.
If they lost weight, would they be able to pull a above average trick in Baltimore?
I mean, if you got a mouthpiece, you got a mouthpiece, man. Like you could take, you can kind of work things like that, man. Because I know short guys, very short guys that go to my gym, but they play the small, stocky game. They got muscles coming out their forehead, and they walking up in the gym with some of the baddest broads. And I'm pretty sure they got a mouthpiece and they got that confidence about them. So.
Well, I mean, let's look. If we look at it like this, only like I think it's like 60 or 70% of men are overweight. So if we have an 80-20 rule, then that means that 10 to 20% of those men, of underweight men, or of healthy men, are still, on the other side of the 80-20 scenario. So, I don't know if it's just a matter of self-improvement.
But the 80-20 it's not necessarily definite,
Right.
to a T, man. And having a good mouthpiece is essential. And just like I told you, and Ron Wills and ARC confirmed this in their videos, most, and they're, the experts on this, but I've experienced it as well. Most women, they put more emphasis from the neck down than the neck up. So, like I say, I've seen the short guys bag up bad bitches. I've seen not so, handsome guys bag up bad bitches because they had more to their game. And as far as the self-improvement, yeah, those guys was in tip-top shape everywhere else in their life. So me personally, I'm like this, bro. I don't necessarily believe in excuses, because it's funny because when it comes to women, a lot of times as men, we got a lot of excuses on why this is not happening or that's not happening, or you comparing yourself to other guys. But when it comes to every other place in life, we like, oh, it's no excuses. I'm a go-getter. I get it done, this, that, and the third. And it's like, well, I have that same mentality when it comes to females. Now, when I leave out my house, game changer, I know every single female is not going to be feeling it. That's a given. And you can't put a gun to these bitches' heads and make their pussy wet. You can only work your game. So I'm not even putting too much stock into that. I'm just not. I think every man should work on their strengths, know their weaknesses, and kind of do things for you. When you do it for you, the women know. The women know when you need validation from them. They know it's in them biologically, man. Women, they know these things, bro.
Agreed.
And
Absolutely. And see, Boogie, I would also like to say too. People talk about, talking to women. I mean, your mouthpiece is big. I've closed bitches over the phone, just talking to them.
Yo, tell me about that David Koresh mouthpiece, man.
Oh, the Koresh mouthpiece, David Koresh. Well, he was able to talk. He was a part of that whole Waco madness. But at the end of the day, with that Waco shit, man, that shit started to go down. Koresh, with the Branch Davidians, he was able to talk men and women into giving up their wives and being strictly with him. He was like brainwashing them, talking these women into doing insane shit. And some women left, but said they couldn't go with it, and so forth. But a lot of women were with their husbands and talked these husbands and wives to saying, "I'm gonna fuck your wife. You can't fuck her no more. You're just part of the group, and that's what it is. And she's gonna have a child from. He was literally talking bitches into this shit. In the Branch Davidians. He was doing that. That's why he talked them all into fucking you'll burn themselves up and going mad up in there. But at the end of the day, me and one of my boys, we thought this dude was so butter-laid in his mouthpiece. We said, you got to have a Koresh mouthpiece out here, man. If you got a Koresh mouthpiece, you're pulling a lot of ass. This dude talking married people into him only fucking their wives and having his baby, and the husband sit there and go work for the group. How the fuck niggas are doing this shit? That's how live his mouthpiece was. And this dude was no super handsome guy. He wasn't running around 6'5", 6-pack abs, muscles all over the place. He wasn't. His mouthpiece was crazy. So you got a lot of guys out here that got a Koresh mouthpiece. They can come out here and close all kind of ass. Close bitches on the phone. And I think a lot of guys understand this. You can close a bitch on the phone, just talk to her and get into her head. You can close her. So, I understand guys that have no game. That's why you have the game sellers out here, the guys selling game, the guys to give them game because they kind of understand that if these guys have no game at all, don't know, they can maybe put them onto some key things that might get them a little bit more successful. So, and I think it's somewhat marginally successful. I don't think it's that successful, but it's marginally successful. But anyway, that's a big part of it. Having a strong mouthpiece is very, very big. Being confident. People talk about going to the gym and it's all the muscles. No, what muscles do is give guys more confidence. So the guys start to talk more confidently when they have more muscle, and it's the confidence that the women like. Women like you being confident. All that goes into it. So I don't know if it's so much about, how much certainly how you look and all this. I think a lot of it goes into how you can relate and talk to them and just talk straight to them. A lot of times straight talk works. So I'm just saying that these are the keys. The guys who are not getting down, the incels and all these guys, they have no game. And I have to say this about what definitely what Xanatos said, which is right on the money. A lot of these, especially these white dudes, they're very entitled. It was supposed to get this, supposed to have that, and it's not going for them like that. And now they're saying they're going to start killing people because they're not getting their way. I'm not getting my way, and if you don't give me my way, I'll fucking kill you. And that's what they're saying. And that's a lot, and that's a large part of what we're seeing. And it comes from a very entitled background where these people have had it, they've had it made. Now they got to compete. They don't like it, and they're angry, and they're willing to kill somebody over it. Go ahead. Hello?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question real quick, Nagone. Then I'll ask Game Changer and Xanatos as well. Because, Nagone, like you went to school, you were educated, brother, like you joined the fraternity and, shout out to your fraternity as well. Now, how much stock do you put into that has helped you get a certain level of women or, quantity of women? Did that play anything into that?
Played huge because women like powerful groups. Women are attracted to it. Groupies, basketball teams, football teams, strong, political groups and so forth. Women, naturally, become attracted to that. So the alphas, we were a strong group. Decent looking brothers, but we were a strong group. We had our colors, black and gold, walking around, stepping on the fucking yard in unison, being a strong group, strong black group of pretty sharp dudes. Bitches was creaming all over the joint. So you had a lot. So besides the athletes who had, top game, it was the fraternity dudes because women like the groups. All right. And strong groups, especially if you're highly effective, you got a lot of visibility. You get a lot of cachet. You're in the, you're the order of the day. You're the hot commodity. Women are going to be down with you. They're going to want to be a part of that. They're going to want to be down. They're going to want to be a part of it. So yes, it played a big role. No question about it. No question. And any fraternity guy out here who's definitely had a fraternity that so-called, what you say, ran the yard, knows exactly how that works. And when you have step shows and all that, I remember when I was in my sophomore year of school, we were up at Manly Fieldhouse. We were National Chapter of the Year. We had one of the biggest step shows going on. We had close to 10,000 people there. It was like stepping, when we got out and started stepping, it was like we were at the fucking Super Bowl. Unlike almost anything I've ever experienced. And I played sports. And here we were stepping, hey, five. And all of a sudden, the crowd was people stomping. It was insane. Insane. Insane in the membrane. Were we getting bitches? Oh, you know it. So that's how that worked. Was what it was.
Yeah, because I think, well, Game Changer or Xanatos, did you want to add on to that?
Well, I do. I want to say that I really don't mind competing on in that way. You know, if brothers were to compete in that way, go to college, join a fraternity. If sex, because there was a sex, you know, I know that that's not the only reason why you joined Alpha Phi Alpha.
No, not at all. But
yeah,
it was it was different.
But I'm just saying, if Black women were to use their sexual nature to motivate brothers in that particular way, I would be happy and I would be less worried about the future of Black America. But what Xanatos was saying earlier about, you know, in Baltimore, you know, if you hood, you good. And, you know, you see it kind of played out in the music like Beyonce's I Need a Soldier, things like that. I think that it's motivating brothers who otherwise would not be in that life, who really don't belong there, you know, to join that life. So, you know, when you say self-improvement, you know, I agree that sex can be a motivation for brothers to self-improve in the way of, you know, becoming an alpha or becoming an athlete, you know, being your best physically and mentally. It does work in that way. But in our community, and especially in some pockets more than others, it works in the opposite direction. It can get you killed, and because you're improving your Nino Brown skills or whatever the fuck, you know. So it can get you killed, and before you die, you just fuck up everybody else's lives. I see that play out far too often with the 80-20. But Xanatos,
hey Xanatos, man, jump in here, man.
Man, repeat the question, C Boogie. My bad.
No, it wasn't a question. I was making a statement.
No,
sorry, C Boogie.
We were just kind of were you doing something or did you hear what was going on?
No, C Boogie said he wanted to ask a question to you and then subsequently the two of us.
Yeah, man, I was just asking, you know, did college kind of improve your skills, like when it came to ladies or you know, bagging certain females?
Well, as far as my college went, so I'll say this: the first year of college, it was definitely an improvement, mainly because of the people I was surrounded by, and a lot of them taught me some sort of perspective on how to get chicks, and not just how to get chicks, but how to win at life. And in the direct result of that was getting chicks, whether it was dudes I hung out with in class and after class, dudes I met up with at the gym, that sort of thing. First school I went to was legit. It was actually University of Pittsburgh, but I had transferred back in state to Maryland for the past 3 years, and that was a whole nother experience. I'll just say this: Maryland, if I could do it over again, I probably would bust my ass with SAT scores and get a full ride somewhere else. But that's, yeah. As far as, and mind you, I went to a PWI, so it was a bit different of an experience. But as far as that school was concerned, oh, man, I'll be honest, it was okay for me only because of the people I rolled with. They were very gregarious, very social, and as a result, I got some just by affiliation, which chances are I probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise. But back to what was a Game Changer stated about how Black women in a perfect world, Black women would use their sexual motivation to help Black men who are on their purpose and who are productive by putting out to them. I mean, that's what I honestly advocate. I mean, you got these women who are like, on one side, oh, just give it up to the thugs and degenerates. And the other side, they say, they take it completely right and say, well, don't get up to anybody and blah, blah, blah. Your body's a temple. I'm like, bull crap with that. Save me that. See, that's what they want to negotiate. If we ever get to a point in the negotiation, they're going to come back to the rightest point of, well, I'm just not going to put out to anybody until marriage. But no. You know how my world works? You can put out. I'm not going to be the guy who tells you that if you sleep with me in the first night, you're a slut and I'm never going to marry you and blah, 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 blah. No, I'm sorry. That's some beta shit. I mean, to think that if she sleeps with you in the first night, she's done it with everybody. I mean, do you have that much of a defeatist mentality that you don't think that you're at least in the top tier of guys if she banged you on the first night? We all talk about how these Scraggle Daggles consider Pookie and Ray Ray to be the top guys because they give them the 90-minute rule instead of the 90-day rule. I mean, why do you think that's my philosophy on that? But as far as that's concerned, my philosophy is that if you sleep with me on the first night, I'm not going to shame you. I'm going to be like Samuel L. Jackson at Dave Chappelle's skit. Good motherfucking choice, motherfucker. That's my philosophy on that. But as far as these chicks and my policy, you know what? Be all sexually liberated as you want to be. To the future doctors and lawyers, to the future accountants and engineers, to the future architects and scientists. If you're going to be all loose and that sort of thing, okay, well, be loose to one of those guys. Have them on the cock carousel, and when you're done with your fun, pick one of those guys who have been on their purpose and who have built something, and you can join in. That's how you win, ladies. That's how white women did it at one point until about like the 2010s, 2000s, when they got on their feminist crap or their Sons of Anarchy, bad boy bull crap themselves. That's how Asian women do it. That's how Indian women do it. Middle Eastern women. Non-chola Latinas, that's how they do it. They ride the carousel of productive dudes first. I've seen this, and by the way, Game Changer, just to correct you, I didn't live in Baltimore. I lived in DC, by the way. So the DC area. Yeah. So that's why I was like not too far from C Boogie. I meant like 40 miles from C Boogie, being DC and Baltimore. But I grew up between Prince George's County, Maryland, and Fairfax County, Virginia. PG County was obviously it's the Daggleran County. I mean, let's just we've already analyzed that, beaten that with a baseball bat, door hammer, and Fisher-Price hammer. But out in Fairfax, what I saw there, these weren't women who were keeping their virginity until marriage and just cooped up in their McMansions or condominiums. No, these women put out like any other teenage girl or girl in their 20s. The difference is that a lot of these girls, and I hung out with a lot of Hispanics, Middle Eastern, and Asians, these chicks put out to men or teenage boys like myself who had potential, or at the very least weren't going in the wrong direction. That's the kind of guys that these gals put out to. And I'm still friends with some of them today, and look to find out that a lot of these girls and dudes who were just casually dating, or even they were boyfriend and girlfriend, they ended up getting married, or they're dating right now as we speak, or something. They're in good grounds. But the point is that these gals use their sexuality in order to encourage men to be productive citizens, successful citizens of society. Unlike what we have here in the community, well, not we, but what is in the community, I'll speak in third-person perspective, of just going after the worst kind of men and encouraging that kind of behavior. And no, you got some of these dating coaches who say, well, they're good women out here. And yeah, these grown and sexy 40-year-old chicks, and no thanks. You can have that crap. Dude, no, I need a chick. If you want me to stay in the community, have any little chance that there was, you should have had these chicks. You should have had these chicks getting at me in 2003.
My bad, Senator.
No, you're cool. Funny. You're cool. I'm on a roll here. Look, I'm not prudent. I'm not a prude. I'm not this conservative. You got to wait until marriage. You got to not be a virgin. Oh, preferably, I would like a virgin. We all like virgins, but legal virgins, by the way. But as far as my standards, fine. If you
Xanatos. Well, what about born again virgins?
Get the fuck out of here, man.
I'm sorry.
Fuck buddies at best. Fuck buddies at best. Born again virgins. Oh, they're gonna tell me that crap. Oh, well, I'm gonna make you wait 90 weeks now. I'm like, no. Yeah, you tell that to Day Day when you were 15 years old. All right, yeah, I'm sure you told that to him. I'm sure you told that to the local dope boy when you were in high school and college. Yeah, you were a born again virgin. All right, yeah, don't play this crap.
That's funny.
In any case, yeah. Look, I mean that's just my standards when it comes to this. But yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the issues, just really quick, and I see Preem jump back in here, but I think one of the issues that we have in the Black community as well is, like anytime you have lack of fathers or lack of male authority, man, you always going to have a large segment of your boys that constantly need validation. And what I'm seeing, and I see it here on YouTube and definitely in real life, a lot of Black men, they live their life for validation from women, and that's what's taking place in the mating climate now as well. A lot of these men, Black men or Black boys or teenagers, they get their validation from these females, man, and they kiss their ass, they suck up to them. So when we talk about the women sleeping with the successful guys first, or so they can have a better chance of getting married to these guys, these women, man, you know they really don't have an incentive to do that because these guys are so weak in their thinking and weak in their heart and mind, to where as though they're going to bend to the pressure of some pussy instead of achieving their goals, man. So I think that certain issue is kind of multi-layered, because a lot of times, man, if you got a strong dad or even some strong granddad or uncles that are going to continue to push you in the right direction, or even give you no choice but to go in the right direction, you'll fare well pretty good out here. But that's just kind of what I think about that, man. So that, a lot of Black men are seeking validation up until they die from these bitches, man. And that's what keeps a lot of Black men in the same position over and over and over again, man. So, these women are really fucking up the minds. That's why I call it the matriarchal psychosis. It's definitely a psychosis, man, that you think you got to live for these women. The matriarchy, the pull of the matriarchy is like a magnet, and they get you when you're young, when you're still impressionable, man.
But it's up to these dudes to break out of this shit. It's up to these men to break out of it, because too many guys give too much.
But we're here to help.
That's
these
it's not just bitches
by themselves.
Hang on one second, Game Changer. I'll say
sure.
This very quickly. All right, too many guys are giving too much juice to these sucker-laid women who are straight suckers. All right, gassing up a straight sucker, and they got them running around thinking that they're this, that, and the third. And too many guys are fucking doing this. And at the end of the day, man, once you start kicking their ass to the curb and letting them know you are tertiary in my game, then the balance of power shifts. And I think that's what men have to be able to do. Be able to kick that to the curb. Don't put that pussy on a pedestal at all. In fact, put it beneath you, and you put yourself up there on the pedestal, if you will. And the power dynamic shifts. It really does. And the older you get, listen to me, gentlemen. All right, the older you get, the better it becomes. Believe me when I tell you that. All right, don't listen to these broads. Listen to the guys like myself who are still running around, and it's shooting fish in a barrel out of here. You're 50 years old, you got your good health, you're strong, you look pretty decent, got a couple of bucks here or there, you don't have a problem getting no ass. None. It gets even worse. The game is more in your favor. Believe me. All right. Go ahead. Game changer. Go ahead, bro.
Hold on, because I'm going to get Preem. Preem, then you go ahead, game changer. My bad, dog.
No comment.
Oh, yeah. Preem, go ahead, man. What's up, Preem? What's up, baby?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This should sound a whole lot better, see, Boogie. This mic.
Yeah, you good, bro. Like, we can hear you.
I just fascinating conversation, but I just brought a couple. It's amazing, you guys were three of you guys were just all right on the same thing, and I kind of tied it up into one little knot, and just want to throw in a little anecdotal story. The first thing was when the Goan was saying about the step show and about being a fraternity, and women are attracted, to men of of prominence, that are strong and powerful, and that's what the fraternity represents. That's a strong group. That's absolutely true. I think that's just innately what women are attracted to. The whole alpha thing, the manly thing is just innate in women. And then so that was true. But then what Game Changer also said was spot on when he said, yeah, that would be nice if they made that the barrier for entry or the standard. Say, hey, if you want to get especially in the Black community, if you want to get with us, if you want a piece of us, this is how you qualify in college, doing one of these things or whatever, and that sets the bar kind of high, but he said, to the detriment of the community, which is why he doesn't have, the prognosis isn't good in his opinion, but the outlook of it is that that's not the case. They kind of celebrate, and they still, do want those banal things, but they kind of advocate for the worst of it, and, dudes are getting killed, for that, to your last point, Boogie, for that female validation. So they're glamorizing the thuggery, this and that, and whatever, to go ahead and get that. And I will say, even those chicks that are also in college, and this segues into my personal anecdotal story about the AU Center down here in Atlanta. We used to have this thing called the AU Center. There was like five total, but four prominent colleges down here. Not let me say prominent, four very large colleges down here. Yeah, Spelman, which had a bunch of Black females, all Black female college. You had Georgia State, bunch of Black females down there. Morris Brown and Clark Atlanta. And the irony is that back then I was one of the quote unquote street dudes or whatever, and ran with that crowd. Even though I wasn't like hardcore. That was the crowd I was in, because I wasn't the college students. But once those broads got off college, man, we was taking them down left and right. And just like a female will always push the edge, they always shoot for the thrill, So it's always the guys that are there, that are available, that are the boys in college or the guys in college, they're doing their thing. But then the street dudes had that little X factor element that piqued their curiosity. So for cats like us that was doing promotions at clubs, the Warehouse, Excess, all the clubs that were down here, man, and throwing those parties, and let's not even talk about Freaknik. I won't go down there. We ain't even gonna go to Freaknik.
Facts. Facts.
But so yeah, all those things are right, man. But I think it's innately, the female is gonna go ahead even. And this goes back to the one thing you said earlier, Boogie, as far as it's a phase. It's a phase where they'll do dumb shit decisions. You're there in college around men who are going to evolve into something predictable and consistent. And you're there with them, and you qualify for them, they qualify for you. But yet and still, you want a taste of that little X factor that's no good to you.
Yeah, real quick, Preem, to piggyback, bro. See, a lot of them college bitches used to come down to Baltimore into the city. They would drive their little cars or their dad cars. They would come into the hood, just to try to be down. A lot of teethy white bitches. They would for real, man. They would come to the hood, man, and we would entertain them, man. We would do whatever, send them back home with a smile on their face. So they always going to be curious of a certain element of guys, man. Women, man, left without boundaries, women are always going to, I'm convinced they're going to push that limit. Now,
hold a second. I just want to key on that point. Yeah. You made a key point, and Preem hit it right on the head. Those women seek the thrill. We used to have these girls we used to have in Syracuse, they would be the townies. The townies would come. And you'd have some of the more, smoother, handsomer townies that would come up in the town, and they'd be hanging out talking to these babes. A lot of these were street niggas, and they was banging up some of these chicks. And some of the college dudes were getting a little bit upset. And I was like, well,
getting tight.
They were getting tight. And then some of the townies were coming in, they would get tight because some of their chicks would try to come to our parties, and they be coming there with a fat ass, and we be polishing them off as well. So there was always that kind of shit going on. So there was always a thrill type of game that went on with these women. And I had to say, Preem was dead on that as far as that's exactly how that was going down. And we saw it. We used to see that a lot. So we didn't get mad about it because it was so much ass flowing around. But yet, we did see that. And that definitely was a part of it.
And Lord, I'm just getting goosebumps even thinking about Freaking It. Just even saying Freaking It.
Oh
God.
yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, I mean, if black women changed their mating criteria, it would be more Kappas, less Bloods, more less Crips, more Alphas, less Vice Lords. Like the whole thing, the whole dynamic would be different.
Well, I mean that. Well, go ahead, MOT. My bad, bro.
I mean, at the end of the day, like when you was talking about how women of other cultures screw with the guys who are doing well in school, like because that's what they value. Like what the hopefully the American BW, what they wanted is they screwed the guy of high value to them, which was those type of guys, the opposite of those type of guys. And as you can see, the results is we have the opposite results of what every other community had. And that's just what they wanted. And they could have changed their criteria anytime they wanted to. I mean, they're surrounded in a society where the criteria is always different. They can see like anybody else can. But they thought that they could be able to have it all. That they could be able to have the guys before, and now they're going to try to loop back around and try to get them some gold jacket NFL retirement dick, SIP participation trophy, and we're just now watching these boats that have been out to sea way too long crash up on the shore because they don't realize that there's rocks on the shore yet. They thought they were just going to slide back into the mainland, and now they're crashing on the rocks because there ain't no lighthouse out there. So that's what you got, man. And it's an ongoing cycle because this cycle hasn't stopped. We're just starting to see women being humbled because they're on the 25-year path of not caring, and it's going to take a whole generation of giving a shit to stop this cycle. And then a whole generation of those people having kids to stop this cycle. We're 40 years in. We're 40 years into a 40-year problem that hasn't stopped. It's going to be bad for a while.
But I want to say this real quick, MOT, to what Game Changer said. Now, I agree with you, Game Changer, but here's where I gotta disagree as well, because I believe you saying that if these bitches only gonna fuck, betas and alphas and kappas, that a lot of these guys, street dudes, well, like I call them knuckleheads, like a lot of these knuckleheads are not going to be knuckleheads. And I think I don't necessarily agree with that aspect of it. I believe that I believe as a man or a growing boy, a teenager growing into a man, that's one of the that's really one of the rites of passage that you really got to take in becoming a man, knowing what's good pussy and bad pussy. So these guys make conscious decisions on whether it be joining a gang, selling drugs, committing crime, whatever the case may be. This is where our culture is so fucked up, and that they get the opportunity to make these dumbass decisions. And when you take the men out the house and the men out the community, this is really what you have. But me as a man from Baltimore, growing up in that environment, heavily drug infested, et cetera, I was able to skip those pitfalls. Now, granted, those guys were getting, a lot of first dibs on the pussy, but I had my fair share as well, so I don't have a lot of complaints in that area. But no pussy was going to get me on the corner with a 38 and selling drugs with those guys, because I thought that was, the easy way out. I thought that was some sucker shit. You know, I had a regular job in high school. So, you know, no amount of pussy was going to dictate my successes or failures in life. And I didn't grow up with a dad, but I always had that strong mind frame. So, you know, I don't necessarily agree with the bitches fucking who they're gonna fuck or not fucking these guys. That is really gonna change too much. I think it'll change a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna make the pendulum swing so much where we can really know a difference, bro. You
No,
know,
I think it would change the entire dynamic. And I'm not talking about like half the thugs or half the gang members or shit like that. I'm talking about a good 90%. None of these dudes will be walking around, doing what they doing if there was no pussy at the end of the tunnel for them. Like very,
well,
very
I
few.
disagree.
I mean, just like I was talking to just like when we was talking about Nagone and him being an alpha, I mean, yeah, pussy was a factor, but it wasn't the sole factor. And I agree. If alphas didn't get laid, there would
But
still be alphas, and there
game
would still
changer.
be a lot
Yeah,
of others.
yeah. I'm gonna say
But I
with
mean,
money,
but
some guys
the
care about money more than
primary
anything else.
motivation of a thug is sex.
Yo,
That's
real quick.
all they
No,
got.
no, no,
That's
no,
all
no.
they got in life.
I
Yo,
don't know
real
about all
quick,
that.
game changer. Like I'm gonna let you go next, Nagone, but I want to say this, man. So you got to understand about, yo, if I had to take it back to like 91, 92, where the thug culture and the music really just got kind of out of hand with, the images they were displaying. But you got to understand what came along with that culture. It was a lot of money in that, and the women flocked to the money at that time when we really seen a major culture shift after the crack era. So you got to understand this, game changer. It was the money that took these females away from chasing professional guys, guys that made pretty good money, guys that put on suits with briefcases, and they started fucking with the street dudes because the street dudes offered them a better deal. Now, yeah, as wrong as it wasn't about the fact that totally he was a thug and he lived his life on the edge necessarily, but it was the money and what the money could provide for that bitch at the time. Now, when the culture really shifted and it really sunk in, and you got a couple more generations until that, yeah, it came a bit of a normalized, bro. But you got to understand, it necessarily wasn't about this guy hanging on the corner with his pants down. It was about the money that he had in his pocket and the money he had access to. So you got street dudes making
Boom.
more money than professional guys.
Okay, I get that. I get that, C Boogie, but I'm saying at the end of the day, they were on some first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. But the ultimate goal was to get the women. So I understand why they did it.
I
I'm
don't think
just
it was
saying
the
that
ultimate goal wasn't to get the ultimate goal was not to get the women. The ultimate goal,
the ultimate goal was to get the
the
women.
women were a side piece. The ultimate goal was to get as much
That's a
fucking
movie.
mugga as you could get. It was about the mugga, about the money, and that's what these
It was
gangsters are
about
about.
all right. Well, because they got the money and bought shiny shit to attract women, I'm gonna say that it was about the women. But if they
It
got
wasn't
the money
about the
and
women.
bought stocks and bonds, shit that don't really mean shit to women, then I would agree with you. But they bought shiny shit. They bought the rims, they bought the cars. They basically their entire net worth is shiny bullshit to get pussy.
No, no,
But
So we
no,
can
no.
agree to
That's not
disagree
true. A
on that,
lot of these
Nagone.
guys,
We can
a lot
agree
of
to
these guys
disagree
bought
on that.
houses and stuff like that. That's why the whole RICO statutes and all that came in because in IGG and all that to knock out these guys' wealth, to knock their
Huh?
wealth out. That's what it was about.
It was about
so
what?
So, all right. So, hold on, real quick, game changer. Let me respond to that. Then I'm gonna let Xanatos go because Xanatos just unmuted his mic. But let me say this real quick. Yo, the woman came. Yeah, they came when the money got really, really large. The women came. I mean, you always had a certain element in the black community that, like my granddad was a numbers runner. He worked at a job. He was a concrete mason, but he ran numbers as well. Like he didn't have bitches lined up at his door. You know what I'm saying? And, he wasn't a street thug either. But what I'm saying is you always had an element in the black community that, kind of took a different route to keep money in their pocket. But I'm talking about, you got to understand, after 1986, 87, when guys was really making a lot of money. Even when I was in high school, man, I had classmates that made $8,000, $9,000 after school. This was hanging on the block, and they still made it to school on time the next day. And my black ass was going to Burger King, bro. So you think he's not going to get these bitches? We talking about these guys would come to school with racks, man. It's the money.
I'm not really blaming the chicks for being attracted to dudes with money. But they don't have money now. I'm just saying shift the shit back. You know, go for the alphas, go for the kappas, go for the sigmas, go for the Qs, and go for the iotas. I'm not any of those things, but I would prefer that they did that over, you know, dudes who have an occupation that used to pay a lot of money in the 80s, like 30 years ago.
Yeah, but that's female nature, man. That's female nature.
Well, no, I understand the stupidity of female nature. You know, I mean, I'm not going against it, but you know, we weren't the only minority group at the time, but we just seem to have, you know.
Hey, Game Changer, how old are you, man? How old are you?
Late 30s.
You in your late 30s to mid 30s?
Late
30s. Okay. Yo, Xanatos, man, jump in here, man. Jump in here, Xanatos. Come on.
Yo, I was gonna say, and by the way, Game Changer, I thought you would have been more closer to my age, actually. But I see both sides of the perspective on this, specifically in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, I was a kid at that point, so I was just busy doing other stuff. But as far as the female nature and women wanting dudes with money, I think initially it was about that, particularly around the time you guys were in your 20s, like in the 80s and 90s. I would say, yeah, it was about the money. It was about the flash. It was about who can provide for me, that sort of thing. And I get that. That's female nature, which, by the way, if I was president, one of the rules I would make is make the legal age of work to 13. I mean, there's no reason why you can't have 13-year-olds working and making some sort of living, that sort of thing. But that's a whole nother subject. But as far as around my time, when I started noticing a lot of this thug worship stuff, this was around the 2000s. And I will say this, at least in the place that I lived in the 2000s, a lot of these chicks, there were a good amount of them who wanted these con Nooney insane niggas for money. But a lot more of them, they were just fine having the bum ass Negro on the street. That's just how it was. And a lot of it was the illusion of being a dope boy or a drug dealer or having some sort of swag or some sort of substance. Yes, the Jordans and the materialism and the bling, yeah, that was a bonus. But as long as you had that illusion of being street or just being street without the money, that was pretty much good for the Dago, at least where I live. So I see both points to this.
No, I think Xanatos, I think eventually that's where it got, but I'm talking like early 90s. That's why I say maybe around 91, 92, it was basically, you know, those guys, you know, making that kind of money that they made. And the professional guys now, they never had to compete with no street dudes before, you know, the crack era. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to compete, you know, because they was pretty much the semblance of success. But now you got guys making that kind of money on a nightly basis, and it comes that fast. Now they spoiling these bitches with gifts, trips, cars, whatever. You know, the bitches took the better deal, kind of like the welfare situation. You know, they took they took what they thought was a better deal. Now, in hindsight, we got a lot of black men, even some black women now, like, well, y'all shouldn't have took that deal. Look at the community. But at the time, the bitches did what they did, and you know, it didn't have a great long lasting effect, man. But I think a couple generations after the, you know, the origins of the crack era, you know, now we just got a fucked up culture, and it's kind of embedded in a lot of these young black girls that this is the, you know, prototype of black man that you should want to fuck. You know, it's already in their head with the images and and like even here on YouTube when you got the educated lames and the Pookie and Ray Rays and this that. So all of this shit is perpetuated over time, man. But the money and the women are I mean, obviously going to come together. But Game Changer, what I'm disagreeing with you is this, bro, that me as a man or you as a man, you know, making a decision to become essentially a criminal or a fucking local knucklehead that's terrorizing your community based off pussy. I don't think that percentage was as high as you say. You say 90%. I'm like, whoa.
Well, I'm
You
saying
know,
90% not of mankind, but of the men who made that decision. And there's two things wrong, C Boogie. We're not talking men here, we're talking boys. We're talking and I know you and I are of stronger resolve and we had pussy otherwise, but we're talking about boys, hormone driven boys, boys going through puberty. That's when they're making these decisions. So
I can tell you this. I grew up in a mostly white neighborhood, heavily Italian. You had the gangster lifestyle, mafiosi. I know many made guys. All right, a lot of these guys got made, and they were not just looking for women. It was about the money and the power that they had. They got women. Some guys didn't even chase a lot of women around. These dudes were about clocking dough, buying property, getting live. That's what a lot of these dudes were about. Those
okay,
were
were they
white
about rims?
boys. Okay,
Were they about rims and shiny shit?
well, some guys had the nice cars and all that, but that didn't
No,
necessarily
but were they
mean
about rims and shiny shit? Because I just want to say that
rims and shine. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm saying these guys were going about getting money, and I think the same thing in the black community too. You see guys out there went out there, and a lot of these guys who became real hoods, real hoods. It was a lot of this was about the money. Of course, yeah, they had the women come around with them, but these dudes were making easy dough, man, and they were clocking big money, big money. So Freeway Ricky Ross, and all they all sat down and told you about it. It wasn't all just about women with them. So I just want to be real clear about that because I've seen this over the decades. About as long, damn, as you've been alive, I've been watching this shit, and it's been about that money, bro. It has been about that.
yeah, but game changer, even your ideas right now are kind of mind boggling me because you expect some street dudes that are making dirty street money. You talking about them going buy stocks and bonds. What do you think they're gonna buy with $50,000 worth of ones and fives and tens? They're gonna buy rims, shoes, jewelry. I mean, that's the culture, man.
okay,
I don't expect the regular. I'm talking about the knucklehead that's standing on the corner to go to Goldman and Sachs and try, you know what I mean, and try to set up his fucking future in some kind of mutual funds. I just don't. I mean, not on
well,
average.
okay,
So
so all right, let's look at it like this. Money is a means, right? It has to have an end. Like there's a reason that a person gathers wealth. What do you
mhm.
think their reason was?
What do you mean? Like the money forget? I mean, like resources and wealth? Like you asking me, like I'm thinking, to cement their legacy.
Cement their legacy. Please elaborate.
You just asked me why do people search for wealth or something like that, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, why do they particularly? Like
What are you talking about?
what
You
do
talking
they
about drug
associate with
dealers?
wealth?
You
Yeah.
talking about drug dealers? Because the
Yeah, I'm talking
money,
about black ones in particular.
black drug dealers,
Yeah.
because the money is so easy. That's why it's a lot of it and it's that easy. um, Especially when you already grew up in a certain kind of environment. A lot of people, all they had to do was get put on by a cousin or uncle. So it's that easy to get in, and there's so much of it. I just told you, when I was in high school, man, I've seen guys come to school with 15, 20 bands on them just to show off because they made that after school on the third of that month, man. It's too much money for some people to turn down. It's too much of it, bro. And I think a lot of people that haven't necessarily been around that life, in first person the way I did, or at least seen, don't really know how much money and how great and how easy it is. So even if, let's take, you got
But
10
these
teenage,
people are in jail and they gave up their future.
yeah. I
Is
understand
that
what you're
what you're
saying.
saying?
I'm not like I understand what you're saying, game changer in hindsight. But look, man, I believe in any culture, you're gonna have a certain segment of people that is gonna go out and get that easy money. It's just right there in front of your face. You got the drug addicts in the neighborhood. They there, you know. So trying to stop that is going to be very hard. You know, I'm not tying this all to women. That's basically what I'm getting at. I believe they out there because the money is so great. Now, what it evolved into.
Let's put it like this. Let's put it like this. The money is no longer great, and they're still out there because the pussy is still great.
Well,
There's
the
nothing
money's
else
still
out
great.
there for
I mean, the
them.
money's still good. The money's
Okay.
still good.
Nah,
No,
it's all about money, man. And criminal activity to a large extent is kind of natural to human beings, which is unfortunate to say, but unfortunately, that aberrant type of behavior is kind of natural. So people are going to be criminal minded. They're going to try to do what they can to make as much money as they. Pussy a lot of times is very much secondary or tertiary because they already know it's about getting that money. And that's a lot of the big drug dealers. All right, a lot of big drug dealers and a lot of the big criminals. That's what they're.
I think that it's hard for a lot of brothers to understand that there is a segment of the population that is so pussy driven that they would go down a dark path if they felt that they can get laid on the way.
I'm not saying you're wrong, game changer. I just don't think it's as high as you saying it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is. And I'm not talking about 90.
Okay, game changer. On what basis are you saying this?
Well, I'm not saying because that's all there is now. For one,
it's still money out there, bro. It's still money out there.
Okay,
it's still money out there.
No. See, Boogie, these Boogie.
First of all, you bugging, bro. First of all, you bugging.
Okay.
Okay, and second of all, you know, I'm gonna give this a couple more minutes, and then because it's still money out there, man.
Okay. Niggas is broke now, on the corners, and this is, I've seen it personally. You know, I like when I was like 19. You know, I moved to 98th, and I moved to a different neighborhood, and it was some brothers pumping out there. This was like it was way over then, and it was like 7 dudes on the corner, and I'm outside playing dominoes just watching them, and I swear to God, like every 2 hours somebody would come up and buy some drugs for $10. I'm like, God damn, y'all niggas gonna split that 7 ways.
So this is your basis off what you said.
No,
you
it's
know,
not my basis on that. So let's just go to pop culture. The movie Baby Boy, featuring Tyrese Gibson. You know, he started off selling weed, and then he said, "Hey, you know something? There's too many weed men out here. I'm gonna start selling dresses." 50 Cent in his Get Rich or Die Trying, he said that if you account for the point, or he was like, if you really just do the numbers, I'm making less than minimum wage. So yeah, it's over.
Game changer.
They're out there for crumbs.
Okay, you know, there in America, there isn't a lack of addicts out here walking the street. There's still money out here, man. Matter of fact, it's more addicts now. I think the game switched from opiates to maybe crack, but that is not a lack of drug addicts. Game changer. Okay, look, because you're trying to tie this into the women, and look, to a degree, I agree with you. I agree with you, man.
Xanatos, get it in, Xanatos.
I gotta run into the ring. Oh, come on! You tagged me into the ring. Oh man. Hey, look. Well, a part of me wants to say that. I mean, neither one of you guys are completely right or wrong about this. That's the most difficult part about it. I mean, as I said, especially back in the 90s, it was about the money. But the money was to partially get the women. It was also about power as well, because you got to remember, I was a kid back then, but I'm assuming that times change, people don't. And a lot of these individuals who came from these households didn't have a lot of power. They were getting tired of answering, not to defend their actions, but they saw or experienced firsthand on how people with power drunk with power, maintain other people around them. And it was usually in a very authoritarian kind of way. And a lot of these individuals, I think a lot of us, I can speak myself, especially when I'm saying, let's say this. Nobody wants to deal with douchebag bosses. Nobody wants to deal with jackasses and assholes who, just because they have a hint of power, they lord it over you and make your life a living hell. A lot of the reason why a lot of these individuals went into the drug game was more likely because they were sick and tired of being powerless. I mean, some of these individuals who were in the dope game in the first place, a lot of them they experienced Jim Crow, or their parents did. And they saw how doing things the right way, going to church, working a decent job, how that basically got them damn near nowhere. And as a result, they wanted easy, fast money. So I can definitely see the argument that C Boogie is making in regards of how a lot of these people who got into the drug game got in it because of mainly money and power. But a thing that Nagone said was that a lot of these guys who got in it didn't get in it because of the women. Now, I'll have to say this. I can agree to that for the most part, that a lot of these dudes weren't worried about the women. But was it because they truly weren't worried about the women? Or was it because they knew the women would come automatically? And that it's like my philosophy on being on purpose. And a lot of people who preach purpose or being focused, getting your money right, mind right, overhead low, high. My bad for botching that.
That's funny.
But the philosophy behind that is that the women will come. If you build it, particularly if you build yourself, the women will come automatically. And I think when it comes to stuff like fast,
and if you sell it, the women will come.
Yeah, exactly. What?
If you sell it, the women will come.
Oh, if you would have worded it like that, then yeah, the women will come automatically. So they didn't have to worry about women in the first place.
Well, so let me say this, because this is a fascinating argument. So Game Changer is saying there's no money in drugs right now. So I mean, look,
how about that?
A criminal aspect, you know, with technology, you know, a lot of guys don't have to sell drugs at this point. You know, you got credit card fraud. I mean, credit card scams. You got fraud now. You know, you got a lot of other ways for these criminals to really make money. You know, I worked in a prison. You know, I kind of seen some of the shit that these guys was locked up on, and all kind of just crazy ways to make money now. Guys are got into PayPal scams. I seen some wild shit, man. So okay, granted, you know, but it's still that element there. And these guys wasn't hanging on the corner with their pants down trying to impress bitches. They was in the house behind the computer. It's about the money, Game Changer. You know, that's first and foremost. The bitches came with it, yes, but the money was numero uno. And it's a lot of money to be made, and it's fast and easy. You know, so you're talking about rims and things, Game Changer, and jewelry. Like, you got to understand, you know, when it comes to fast, quick, easy money like that, I don't expect these guys to do, well, most of these guys, some people do invest, but for the most part, I expect these guys to waste that money as fast as they made it. So it took them a night to make it. They're going to go spend it because they know they got more money to come. As long as they don't get arrested, man, that's that culture. And you know what? Fast money, fast cars, fast jewelry, fast women. That's that life, man. I don't necessarily tie my successful failures into a bitch wanting to give me pussy. I think that's it is a population of young boys that go through that. You know, they code switch or whatever. They get in a little bit too deep with that. But I don't think it's as large as you saying, Game Changer. I just don't, man.
I'm not saying 90% of the population, see, Boogie. I'm saying 90% of the drug dealers and shit.
That's so they would change if the bitches stop fucking them. They would get off the corners and go get a PhD.
even if it's not like the entirety of their motivation for doing it, it's a large enough deterrent. Yeah.
Come on, man. Stop that, dude. Come on, man.
So
Well,
these
I mean,
guys,
we're speculating.
so these
So
guys are going to give up making 9-10 grand a night to go sit in a fucking classroom and get a PhD. I mean, you think some people have that
I don't
mentality?
know any drug dealers making $9,000-$10,000 a night. That's something
I seen
spectacular.
that in high school, bro. I wouldn't make
Yeah,
these
yeah.
stories up.
But I mean, those days are over, is what I'm saying. So the ones who are making $9-$10 a night are doing it for the pussy.
Okay. Yo, MOT, what's up, man? Yo, because after this, I'm gonna change the subject because now we arguing on how much money drug dealers make, and this shit turning somebody gonna get indicted on this fucking channel. But yeah, go ahead, MOT.
It's no, for me personally, it's just that the bitches were just a side portion of it, and it was money. Like when you look at these documentaries about crime, yeah, they were trying to make as much. I mean, it was gluttonous. I mean, it was to a point to where it was ridiculous. Like these dudes could have easily invested that money that they made over a month and been completely done and living the life for the rest of their life. But this shit was just to a gluttonous point, and that's what they were out there for. Was just the money and spending it as lavishly and as crazily as they possibly could. Because one, they didn't value the actual value of money; they just valued how much they got and how fast they got it. So it wasn't like they could go invest because they didn't have the mind state for that. Investing is a long term thing. And how they made the money was such a short term thing, they couldn't think in the long term. I mean, yeah, they got women with it, but the primary reason why they did it was to just have it. It's kind of like a bank robber who knock over 8, 9 banks. Does this dude have enough money after one bank robbery to actually live for a while? Sure. But he just got too greedy and he was just knocking over banks just to be knocking them over. That's the kind of discussion that everybody on the panel was having to women versus the point that you was making, that they were doing it exclusively because of the women. Yeah, they were going to exclusively have access to women because if they had the access to the money. It isn't the other way around.
Game changer. I will not allow you to play this paid in full clip. I have to.
Okay.
No, man. Because game changer. Do you know what you're doing right now, bro?
No, I was gonna play a clip where he specifically.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
Okay.
I got my name from that movie. Somebody named me the name Boogie from that movie, and it was funny because they said I looked like the guy. But the point is, man, I know he said, if you sell some of this, she'll suck your dick all night and everything. Yo.
Oh, you remember the other scene where he said, "Man, it's not even about the money. It's about fucking that hoe and that hoe and that hoe." You remember that scene too, right?
Oh my God, all right, game changer, you won, bro. You got it, man.
Thank you.
You got it, bro. I'm not gonna go back and forth with this over. Now you brought up a movie clip, game changer. I can't believe you did that, man. If this was a football game, that'd be a flagrant foul. You brought up a movie clip to justify what we're talking about, and the thing about it is, game changer, I didn't say you was wrong. All I said was I don't think the percent of guys that would change that mentality is as high as you saying it is. I just don't. I don't, man. Women choose the people who they're going to mate with. Nobody's stopping these young girls right now from saving that pussy for a college dude, for a Calper, for an alpha, for a doctor or a lawyer or a future doctor. Nobody's stopping these females now. They're gonna fuck who they want to fuck. I just think that is highly romanticized at this point as well, man. Guys out there because the money is so great, it's so easy, it's right there at arm's length, and it beats working in Burger King like I did in high school. Or I delivered papers. I did all the bullshit. I shoveled snow. Why do that when you could go make 8-9 grand and you could ball out and do? I mean, I just don't see what you. I get it. I get it, but I don't think is exactly how you saying it. Don, what's up, Don? Jump in here, baby. Yo, this nigga pulled a clip out. Game changer. You pulled a clip out on me, dog.
Yeah, what up? Can you hear me?
What's up, man?
Yeah, what up? Yeah, but the drug game's still alive and well, man. Especially in these colleges, like these kids, they going crazy over the ADD, those ADD meds. You get your hands on some of those, man. You'll be making a lot of money. A lot of those kids in the colleges, they take it to stay focused. So you get your hands on that, and then like what's really hot now where I live is the fentanyl vials. You get your hands on some of those too. You sell them out quick.
Yeah,
well, drugs are big. Drugs are still big.
Talking about magnitude, you know, of how much it would affect it if the women change their culture and stop offering a sexual incentive to drug dealers. You know how many.
Okay, game changer.
And we don't really know. We're.
But it's not just the fact that they're selling drugs. It's just the fact that the stuff that the thing that they're doing is exciting to them. They like that too. They like the excitement that comes along with it.
Agree.
So that's why.
Agree.
So game changer, you say the money is not great right now in drug dealing, but yet these girls still sleeping with these guys.
Yeah.
So nobody is stopping these young girls from going to sleep with a successful young black boy or young black man. You know,
well, the only people that are stopping girls from doing that are the girls.
Okay, so that kind of made my point that you know it's about the money, man. You know as long as that money is out there easy, it's always going to be a criminal element out there, man. You know you can't necessarily the girls come with it, man. But that's just decisions people make, man.
Well, Don made a point that it's not just the money; it's the excitement that goes along with it, and I think that's why they're still with these dudes, no matter how broke they are and become. You know, they're still with these, broke dudes. Excitement.
Game changer. I ain't fucking with you tonight, dog.
And making $10 a day. $10.
All right, game changer, man. All right, man. Let's go ahead and transition this, man, because now you
bugging.
You bugging, bro.
I'm exaggerating.
You don't know who's listening.
$10 a day.
You don't know who's listening to either. So,
well, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. I'm saying that they're not they're not even in Beverly Hills.
No, I'm telling you, man, it's big, man. I'm saying it. You get your hand on some Ritalin or some you go to a college campus, you'll sell out quick. I'm telling you.
Yeah, hell, just sell G Fuel to the teenagers playing Fortnite, and you'll make a killing.
Yep.
Yeah. This was very interesting, man, because I'm really befuddled right now that this conversation, it was good, but I just think I don't know what to think about a game changer, because you're trying to tie a man's success and failures to the hip of a female.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm saying that the brothers who are doing this, the majority of these thugs, and I'm not talking about Ritalin salesmen. I mean, it's not like the women are lined up to fuck the Ritalin guy, But no,
you'll be surprised.
Well, I would, and the fact that I would means that they're not. But
they are. I'm telling you, I live in a college town. They're going crazy. I'm telling you, you can sell. You get your hands on some ADD meds, they'll sell out quick. I'm telling you right now, and them girls will do anything for it.
Well, so let me anything but get a prescription, apparently.
So let me.
Well, the thing is, yeah, you can get a prescription, but you have a limit. It's not like you can get one. You can get like one prescription a month. You know what I mean?
Because I'm about to transition this.
Yeah. Game changer. This ain't no streetwise dude, bro.
Nah, I'm not.
So look.
No, you ain't streetwise, man. Anyway, yo, see Boogie, man, move this thing on, bro. Move this thing on. Press on.
Yeah, can we agree? Because we're gonna go back to the 80-20. Kind of get back on that. can we agree that women follow the money? Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I'm good with that. Women follow the money, and if you have a lot of it, they'll fuck and do pretty much whatever you tell them.
Oh,
So
absolutely. That's why so many black women follow Tiger Woods. He's a billionaire, right? Hello? Hello?
and you know what, game changer? Yeah, you trying to be funny, dog.
Oh, that was
What?
good, bro. Oh, that was great.
Hey, yo, MOT, you trying to be funny,
Tiger Woods
dog.
got mad black bitches, don't he?
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, brother,
that
he
was
just got
funny.
bitches out. I mean, he gets it like Nino Brown, don't he? Oh no, he don't. He gets it like Pookie. Oh nah, he don't. He gets it like Ray Ray. Oh nah, he don't. He get it like Jody. No. He
I'm
get it
about to
like
meet your
Shay from
line,
this.
dog, because
Nope.
now you trying to be funny as shit. That
All
was
right.
funny. That was
Yeah.
funny. That was
Jody
funny.
wasn't getting no bitches like that though, Baby Boy.
This nigga said
Jody
Tiger
wasn't getting
Woods.
bitches.
Not in Baby, not like that. Not
Oh
in
yes,
Baby.
like that. He had one baby mama, two baby mama. Every bitch he sold a dress to. That sexy ass bitch from his girl's job.
Game changer. All right, what's your end goal? What is your point, bro? Because I mean, like, what is
Money
your
is
point?
like, if they were chasing money, they'd be chasing Tiger Woods.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if Tiger Woods drove through the hood, he had no issue getting no pussy, man. They
Right.
may not find them extra attractive, but they'll fuck him.
And get robbed.
They will fuck him. You know, trust
That's
me,
why
man.
you
I'm
don't
pretty sure.
like
Yo,
what
Tiger had mad bras though when he got caught.
that the men are choosing the women.
Well, yeah, but he had white ones. We're talking about black women.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that that is what the women wanted. Those specific type of women, and that's what they wanted. So for the black women, what they specifically wanted, was a guy who fit a certain archetype, which is who they hung out with and who they fucked and dealt with. Just like the Tiger Woods example. The reason why those women who are not black would choose him are the same reasons why the black women would choose who they chose. The problem was the women was doing the choosing and the men was accepting they chose in those specific markets. Too far off? All right. That's it, but
Nah. You know, because in really in a sense that you know, Game Changer has a point. A lot of black females probably wouldn't be digging Tiger Woods' swag,
hell yeah.
but they'll fuck him anyway.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. They'll fuck him anyway. You know, they will. If Tiger Woods pulled his Escalade through the hood, he would have no problem fucking any of those hoes. You know, now if he didn't have that money, yeah, he'll be fucked. You know, because he was socialized in a white environment. You know, that's just the reality. You know, and he doesn't have that street swag or that kind of demeanor. He's very non-threatening, and you know, they might not fuck him, but with that amount of money, I believe if he drove through any hood in America, he can fuck 95% of the black bitches, man, with ease. You know, Tiger has made it clear that he doesn't, you know, necessarily fuck with the daggle. He's made that clear, but Game Changer, hey, Carnell, jump in here, man. Game Changer gave me a headache, bro.
I mean, when we getting off the topic of the drugs, like you said, I'm cool, listen, but all I was going to point out is it's like the money is easier now than it was back then for the fact that you have social media, you have online. So I don't, if you're a hustler,
Nah, man, we off for the drug talk.
okay,
Yeah. We off for the yeah. We done with that.
Well, back to the 80-20. I mean, everybody pretty much addressed. There's really nothing I can, add to it. It's just all I see is just self improvement, and the chicks are a byproduct. They're gonna come regardless. They see the money, they see the power. They're gonna lay on their back or on their front. Whichever comes first. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, man. I think as far as the 80-20 rule right now, man, and like this probably be the last go round and I wrap it up, man. I think you know, it is taking its toll on society at this point, as far as these women, a lot of females, they have no issue being side pieces. They actually proud of it. We really are watching a society really go down, really go down the drain. I'm sorry. You know, it would be nice if these females would make wiser decisions. That would be the good thing to do for these females, man. Like maybe their life would turn out just a little bit better, man. But if you take the restrictions off women, if you take that electrical fence away from these females, man, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. That's just the reality. Whatever get their pussy tingling at that moment. That's what women usually do. That's just how they get down. And right now, the men of this society, we have no authority over these females, man. We can say everything we want to say. We can make 1,000 YouTube videos, but at the end of the day, I have no legal power to check a bitch. Legally, I could do it in my own way. But to be honest, she gonna do what the fuck she want to do. And if you go overseas and bring a bitch over here, 9 times out of 10, that bitch gonna get corrupted at some time as well if you don't put an electrical fence around her. My brother got hit up like that. He brought a Japanese female over here from straight from Japan, and he got torn out the frame. As soon as she got her 10 toes on the soil. So that's just the environment that we in right now, man. Um, it's tough for a Negro right now, man. It's tough for a Negro, man. We really got to move smarter, man. But I'm gonna let y'all go, man, and say some closing statements, man, and we'll get up out of here.
I'll say this to add your point about the women that you bring from foreign countries to here. Any chick who wants to become an American, or any foreigner who wants to become an American, at this point, I give them the side eye like hell. Mainly because, let's be honest, America is not the country it once was in the 80s and 90s. This isn't the shining beacon on the hill, man. There are plenty of Americas in this world, which a lot of foreigners go to for prosperity, man. I mean, and we can take it back to the point of race. I mean, if you want to talk about these immigrants, particularly these Asian, these Indians, even the Latino and African immigrants who aren't about that kissing Anglo-Saxon ass by hating us, a lot of them usually go to other places like Europe, Australia, Canada, even places like Brazil and Japan. Like if you find a foreigner overseas and she wants to go to one of those countries, all right, that's one thing. But if you want to bring a chick to America, knowing what America is about money first. I mean, you can make a nice living in other parts of the world, and in some cases, a better quality of life in other parts of the world. But women who come here specifically, they're all about that cash. They want the solid house, middle class living, and the free healthcare or universal healthcare and affordable colleges. They can get that by going to some suburb in Canada or Australia or Europe somewhere. Here, the chicks come here for one thing: money.
True. Very true. Very true. Yeah, MOT, like you can go, we're gonna close it out, and then Carnell, like I'm gonna let you go last. Oh, I mean, like MOT, then Game Changer, then Carnell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you establish your own power, so that way you don't get caught up in the trap that they got set for you. That's why you have to have a lot of experience, even if you have to pay for it, with women, and don't let these, game hustlers try to make it exclusive for you to access certain things a certain way. We're talking about your future and your overall bank account. I've never seen any one of these guys step up and kind of be a character witness for any man who got torn out the frame, thanks to the game that they quote unquote applied to get performance. So I'm just telling you to move with a level of precision and establish your own power and make sure that you do a lot of asset protection with everything that you gain in life. Trust me, if you die with it, write her ass in the will. If not, protect all your shit from it. And if women in this society don't understand why you need to protect your assets from possible shit that go wrong, you're already dating the wrong person. Trust me. People in this society who have a eyes wide open view of how things work in this country is either they respect men or they don't. If they respect men, they respect you trying to save your assets and resources in case things go wrong. But if they don't respect the fact that you are doing that, then that lets you know that you are dating the exact wrong type of person. That's all I got, man. Thanks so much for having me, man. Y'all have a nice.
All right, peace, MOT. Yeah, game changer, man. You know, just don't play no video on me, bro.
I'm not gonna play no video.
I'm fucking with you.
No, I just want to piggyback on what Xanatos said. Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't eat your dinner in the bathroom. Don't bring a woman who's from another country to the U.S. I mean, if you're looking for somebody with family values, the fact that she wants to come to the U.S. means that and leave her family to come to the U.S. is not really a good sign. So, you know, if you find yourself in that position, you're probably better off, you know, staying where she stays or just going expat completely if you can.
Yeah, like, are you considering doing that someday, game changer?
Well, yeah, definitely. I work remote right now. I only got to go into work once every 2 weeks, but if I can get them to let me remote in completely, then yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that.
So you already kind of got that kind of emotion.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, you could come. I'll invite you on my next trip because I got actually people in Maryland. And my cousin live there too. So the next time I'm in the DR, you're welcome to come.
All right, yeah, for sure, man. We get that set up, man.
Yeah.
All right, Carnell, what's up, bro?
Hey, man, I just appreciate you letting me come on the platform and speak a few words here and there. I actually want to holler at you behind the scenes about the project. I do filmmaking, so I follow a lot of you guys. I respect a lot of you guys, and I would like to pick your brain on some ideas and stuff like that. And since we're from the same city, I feel reaching out can be kind of easy. So,
oh yeah, man. Email me, man, and we'll get that together, man.
Like tomorrow or something. I gotta get some stuff done tonight. But again, man, I just appreciate you letting me come on. And Nagone, man, is it Portuguese or
no,
Spanish?
Nagone jumped off, man.
Jumped off. Oh, man.
Brazil is Portuguese, though. I think it is Portuguese. He knows.
Portuguese.
Yeah, Portuguese.
All right. But other than that, thanks, man. And like I said, I'll holler at you behind the scene, man. Thanks again.
Oh yeah, man. Email me, man. And I want to say thanks to the chat, everybody for hanging in there with me, man. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Xanatos, MOT, Game Changer, Carnell, Nagone. Game Changer gave me a headache tonight, man, but we made it through to the end, man. And y'all subscribe to Xanatos Clutch channel. Man of Tomorrow has a channel as well. Game Changer has a channel. I didn't put the links in there, man, but they're very, very easy to find on YouTube, man. So if y'all not subscribed to these guys' channel, man, they got great content, man. Subscribe to these guys. And if don't nobody want to say anything, we're gonna go ahead and close it out.
All right, peace. I mean, good panel.
All right, later.
All right, peace out.